last 4 seasons, the Chicago Wolves have rarely been the underdog in a playoff series, but that is exactly the case here in the 2001 Turner Cup Finals. Down 2-0 with the pressure squarely on their shoulders, the Wolves took to the ice at the Allstate Arena to battle the red-hot Orlando Solar Bears. 2 vocal Allstate Arena crowds gave their impassioned support as the defending champions captured Game 3, but stumbled in Game 4. Tonight, the series returns to Orlando, where courage and heart will collide with desperation. To keep the series alive, the Wolves know they must win on the road against the league's best defense and its most valuable player. But as long as there's a game to be played, it's a perfect opportunity for a team that's defied the odds all season long. It's Game 5 of the Turner Cup Finals. The Wolves and the Solar Bears are next. Welcome to the TD Waterhouse Center in Orlando. They said they wanted to form a human circle around the building to show their support to keep hockey in Orlando. They're expecting a capacity crowd inside here as these fans are trying to urge their team to its first Turner Cup championship in 3 times the finals. The Wolves trying to force a Game 6 on Monday in Chicago. Hello again, everybody. Judd Surratt along with Jim Blaney and Billy Jaffe. Thanks for joining us for another Chicago Wolves simulcast. Well, Jim, one of the differences in the first 2 games versus the last 2 that took place in Chicago was how well the Wolves are playing defensively.
Well, when we were here last weekend, Judd, the Wolves struggled mightily defensively, giving up buckets of goals to the Orlando Solar Bears, but that has really changed around in the last 2 games played at the Allstate Arena. 3 goals in those 2 games, 4 times as many in the first 2 games last week, and the penalty kill has gotten much better. But unfortunately for the Wolves, even though they've only given up 3 goals in the last 2 games, they only have 1 win to show for in those 2 contests, and that's why they face elimination tonight.
As we take a look at our storyline for tonight's game, sponsored by LaSalle Bank, while the defense has gotten better, the offense really hasn't responded. They only have 7 goals in the series.
You still need to score goals to win, and that is something the Wolves haven't done enough of at any point in this series. They need to increase their offensive production. One guy who has done a pretty good job is Jesse Belanger. He had the clinching goal in game number 3 that made it 3-1, and that was the final. And then he had an assist on the Wolves' lone goal last night. But here's the thing for the Wolves, Judd. They have only had 5 different players score goals in this series. The Orlando Solar Bears have had 10. That's a huge difference.
Jim, another thing that will really help the Wolves tonight is if they can be more disciplined.
And that doesn't mean just not taking bad penalties. The Wolves did take their share of penalties last night, but I should point out that was a very tightly called game. Discipline gets down to this: making sure you take care of the puck. Here's an example where the Wolves trying to work the puck down low. They have possession of the puck, and they don't get anything out of the possession as the puck just squirts free and goes to the Orlando Solar Bears. Other times, bad discipline is bad penalties. Case in point right there. But also, the Wolves had a couple of times, especially in the game last night, where they would be working hard in their own zone, trying to get it out, and they would just turn it over right in front of their own zone. The Wolves must be very careful, because any poorly disciplined play tonight can lead to the end of the season.
Well, Jim, we talked about Norm Miracle, the MVP of the league, before the start of the series being a big factor, and he really has in the 4 games in the finals. And for more on that, we send it downstairs to Billy Jaffe.
Thanks a lot, Jed. Well, it's hard to imagine a goaltender with a 3-1 record and a .947 save percentage doing it quietly. But Norm Miracle really has done that. It's not that Norm Miracle doesn't play great or anything. It's just that he does it smoothly and solidly. And the other thing is, guys, when he does allow a rebound, if he does allow a rebound, either he makes a second save or his defense has been there to clear it out and help him get the puck away from his own net area. And I talked to Norm Miracle earlier, a very confident, calm guy. He's saying, you know what, 1 more game, we need to see what we can do, but he's taken nothing for granted. He has really been the backbone for this Orlando great defense. Back upstairs.
All right, thanks a lot, Billy. Well, the Wolves actually feel that Miracle may be getting tired. He has played every single game for the Solar Bears, not only in this series, but throughout the playoffs. The Wolves will have a fresh guy in net tonight, Wendell Young, and they feel that'll be a big advantage for them. Tonight's broadcast of Chicago Wolves hockey is brought to you by Craftsman Tools, the official tools of the Turner Cup champion Chicago Wolves. And by Clark. When it comes to great prices, Clark is the real deal. and by Coca-Cola, proud soft drink sponsor of the IHL Turner Cup champion Chicago Wolves. Coca-Cola, enjoy. When we return to Florida, the starting lineups and opening face-off for Game 5 of the Turner Cup Finals. This is Chicago Wolves hockey.
Whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, though the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Welcome back to the TD Waterhouse Center. The starting lineup and scratches brought to you by Just Tires, low prices, fast service. Wendell Young will get the nod here in Game 5. On defense, it'll be Nardella and Bremanis up front at center. Belanger on the right side, Rob Brown, and on the left side, the captain, Steve Malte. Scratches for John Anderson. Teddy Drury still shaken up after taking the hit from Jared Scaldi in Game 3. Featherstone, LaRouche out of the lineup. LaRouche got drilled last night on a check that was called for a minor penalty, but no suspension given, even though it was identical to the one that Scaldi laid on Drury. Lawrence LaPuma also out of the lineup along with Tallis. The All-State goaltending matchup tonight features Norm Miracle, 11-4 in the playoffs, a .229 goals against average. That's 4th in the league. Here in this series, 149. Wendell Young, 2-3 in the playoffs, a .307 goals against average. He suffered the loss in Game 2. The officials for tonight's game, the referee is Terry Koharski, the linesman, Sean Finn and Russ Johnson. Scaldi back in after serving a one-game suspension, wins the face-off, and we are underway. Back of his net, Young leaves it for Bremanis. Bremanis backhands it up the near side, couldn't get it by Vijay. Near corner, it's Scaldi. Scaldi, back of the net. Now Murphy comes out in front, the Wolves swat it away. Far corner now, Vijay. Hit by Bremanis. Far corner, it's Adams scooping it up. Watched by Nardella. Back of the net now, Nardella. Bremanis with a hit. Far corner, the puck still free. Vijay with it, spins. Squirts it to the end boards. Nardella muscles it up the near side. Murphy comes down low, shoots. Young with a blocker save, and the Wolves will bounce it up the middle and back to the Orlando line. The Wolves will make some changes. Up the near side, Murphy over the red line. Golfs it into the Wolves zone. Far corner. Mason avoids the hit from Dahl. The puck free to Nicholas Anderson. He'll whistle it up the right side. And this one will bounce on goal. Miracle will steer it behind his net. Brett Clark, one of the heroes for Orlando last night, fed it up the near side. Held in at the high slot by Anderson, and then he got drilled by Mason. And I think we're going to have an offside here. And once again, a little stick work after the play was whistled. The coaches tonight, John Anderson, wanted to remind his team what it was like last year when the Wolves were in this position. The Wolves with a huge crowd for a Game 5 at the All-State Arena, 18,000 plus, the ability to clinch against Grand Rapids, and they let it pass. They want to see if they can make it hard on Peter Horacek's team, the head coach of the Orlando Solar Bears. His team, the Wolves feel, has gotten all the bounces and all the calls, and they're waiting for the tide to turn at some point. They also believe that the Solar Bears have earned a lot of the bounces and the breaks that they've been getting. Near corner of the Orlando end, Hood took a hit. This is Eric Hood's first game in the playoffs. Near corner now, Richards took a bump from Hood. Near corner, it's Cruz. He had a guy out in front for a moment. Cruz delivers it deep. Back of the net now, Anderson with a check on Clark, and steered up the middle by Mason and out to center ice. Aikens pulls it back into his own zone, bangs it off the glass near side. Out at center ice, Hood flips it into the left corner. The Wolves want to change. 18-18 left here in the first, and we are scoreless. Scott Rickey up the right side for Herbie Vasilia. Cuts to the center circle. Over the line, left side, Pothier. Got around Noonan. Centers. Kicked aside by Young. Now Aikens up the near side to LaRose. LaRose fought off the check from Simon. Out at center ice, it's Noonan. He'll bounce one in to the right of Miracle. He plays it up the far side. Shaw shoots, blocked, rebound, Plot fires, blocked again. And Pothier is down. And I wonder where that hit him. He's the guy who blocked the shot. 17:50 left here in the first, scoreless.
Already, Judd, in this opening period, we have seen the Wolves be far more physical, and it was a shift by Eric Hood and Paul Cruz that more or less set the tone, at least here in the early going. They were very physical. Pothier down on the ice, and you have no chance when you are down on the ice on your stomach and you're looking square at the shooter. Dan Plante with the shot about 6 inches off the ice. And from our angle, what we can see is where they're looking at on Pothier is they're looking at his neck in the collarbone area where your collarbone connects to your sternum.
Well, Danny Plante played like a man possessed the other night, generating a lot of pressure down low, and that's where the Wolves feel like they can be effective. When we talked about it before in our Inside the Series, they need to get the puck deep, and that means dumping it more. And John Anderson believes that the team has not been doing that enough because they want to carry it in. They're seeing openings that are just not there, and because of Orlando's back pressure, it's closing up.
Creativity is a wonderful thing if it's there, but I think realistically for the Wolves, their best chance, Judd, is to play dump and chase. And I know a lot of hockey fans, when they hear that, they just roll their eyes, but you know, it can be very effective, and I think we saw that on that shift with Eric Hood and Paul Cruz moments ago.
Well, Pothier will now get up. That shot may have rung off the side of his face. You can email Jim, Billy, and I throughout tonight's simulcast. Log on and send your questions and comments to Chicago Wolves at mindspring.com. We'll get to as many of those as possible. Draw on the far circle in the Orlando end. LaRose, Noonan, and Plante out there. LaRose with a goal and an assist in Game 3. The Wolves' lone victory in the series. Chicago only 3-4 on the road in the playoffs. Orlando 5-2 here at home, and they've won each of their last 4. John Coleman getting repositioned. He may see some more ice time now that Pothier grabs the seat for a little bit. Around the far circle, won by LaRose. Right of the net, LaRose pulls up. LaRose, far point. LaRose fires it back in the net for Noonan. Centers, and it just missed Plante. Held in for a moment by LaRose. Now Hordichuk shovels it up the near side and into the Wolves' end. And this has got to be a 2-line pass, and Ben Simon touches, and we get a call with 17.5 left here in the first inning of the game, scoreless.
Well, right now, Orlando with 2 of their more effective forwards from last night's game on the ice. Ben Simon heading over toward the bench, along with Dan Snyder and Darcy Hordichuk, who had the game winner last night. And I was really surprised at the way Darcy Hordichuk was used in the game last night, but I think it's an example of the kind of confidence that Peter Hordichuk has in Darcy Hordichuk, that he was out there in game situations and he was also out there in the overtime. Normally you don't have a guy who's making his living as a tough guy out there in overtime, but he was there last night.
Oh, he had a terrific game, and he's been outstanding in the playoffs. 3 goals and 6 points. Back of his net now, Murphy drills it up the near side. VJ couldn't get it out. High slot, it's Loach. Shoots, Miracle, a stick save, and the rebound. And we're gonna have a penalty out in front as Weaver got too much of Martin's. And the Wolves will have the game's first man advantage. 17:15 left here in the first, scoreless.
We saw in last night's Game 4 that Bob Nardella had 3 instances where really he was kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time and had penalties called on him. And this is a case of Mike Weaver. He's in the air. You know, Steve Martins is around, turns around, and as Martins heads up the ice, Weaver didn't get a whole lot of him, but interfered with him as he tried to get to the rebound, then stuck a little elbow in there for good measure. But I want to call your attention to the save by Norm Miracle here, because this is something that happened last night. Norm Miracle was making plenty of saves last night, but he wasn't handling the puck as cleanly as he was in games 1 and 2. Making the saves, but the Wolves have to crash the net because the puck was coming free.
Nardella to the near side, Belanger. Near circle, Malte. Centers deflected, and Miracle to save. And a beauty with Brown on the doorstep. And we get a stop at play. The Wolves have only scored 1 power play goal in the series, 1 for 19.
That was a great save, kids, because Steve Malte was looking for Rob Brown, who was camped out on the left corner of the goal crease, and the puck was deflected as Malte passed it to Brown, and it ends up going on net. Malte's looking for Brown all the way here. It gets deflected on net. Miracle makes the save. That time it didn't come free.
So Solar Bears drive it down the length of the ice. Bob Nardella back to get it. He has only 1 assist in the series. Nardella up the right side. Belanger up right wing over the red line. They'll fire it in and around. Along the near wall. Simon scoops it up. Turns with it. Dishes it out to center ice. Snyder along the near wall. Bumped by Nardella. Nardella knocks him down and the Wolves will work back. Malte over the line left side to Brown to the near point. Brown holds onto it beautifully. Brown wants to go rink wide to the near corner. Belanger back of the net. Malte let it roll. Far point now Anderson. High slot. It skips out to center ice. Nardella had to keep his eyes on Snyder, who now has the puck. Look out. Murphy over the line right side. Murphy dishes centers. And Young able to make the stop out in front. Orlando will move up aggressively, and now the Wolves will counter on the power play. Over the line left side, it's Brown. Centers back of the net. Belanger had it hit his skate, and Orlando will clear. Wolves on the power play another 45 seconds. Back of his net, Loach. Up the right side for Cruz. Leaves it for Martins. A nifty move to get around to check. He'll rock it over the line. Near point from Ennis. Took a pop from Scaldi. Held in near side by Noonan. Then it squirts down the length of the ice. 23 more seconds left in the power play. 15 and a half left here in the first and scoreless. Loach up the left side to Bermanis. Stops. Right wing feed Cruz. Good to hold on to it. Comes back to Loach at the blue line. Now Martins turns in front of his bench. 5 seconds left in the power play. Martins around to check. Flipped it over the line left side. Getting to it is Clark. And they'll clear it out to center ice. Herbie Vasilia. Poked free by Aikens. And Orlando has killed 19 of 20 here in the finals. Far corner of his own zone, McBain. Up the far side, Noonan. A hit from Mason. Now Cruz will get it up left wing. Over the red line. He'll drive it into the far corner. The Wolves doing some changing. Cruz will do the same. Up the near wall, it's Papier back on the ice. Throws it up the middle. It doesn't connect with anybody. Young will fall on top of it, and we get a whistle with 14:43 left here in the first. Scoreless. This is Chicago Wolves hockey.
The Chicago Wolves are in the hunt for a 3rd Turner Cup championship. Be there for all the action.
LaRouche centers. Anderson shoots. He scores! Out of the slot. Shoemeister, the paddle save.
Join the #1 fans in Chicago for all the action.
Into the slot. Nardella shoots over the net. Rebound. They score!
Playoff tickets are on sale now. Call 1-800-THE-WOLVES.
Anytime Curtis Murphy is on the ice, the Orlando Solar Bears can be in the attack mode. Short-handed, Murphy throws it across the top of the crease, got it on the money to Brian Adams, but Wendell Young was there to make the save. It looked like Adams may have been in too deep to shoot the puck, but he still got rid of it, got a pretty decent chance, but a better save by Wendell Young.
Wendell Young in his 18th professional season. The winner of every championship in major professional hockey in North America. Up the right side, Plante over the red line, bounces it into the left corner, going to chase. It's Plante. Now giveaway, Hood back of the net, centers fired wide by LaRose, but Hood able to get to that puck and generate the chance. Now far side, LaRose with a check on Hordichuk, and he goes down, and we're gonna have a penalty here on the Wolves.
Well, Judd, a good penalty is one you kill off, and if the Wolves kill off this one by Guy LaRose, I think this is a good penalty because Darcy Hordichuk was physical last night in the game. A lot of after the whistle stuff, and he pays the price here. Eric Hood, this is a great pass. Eric Hood has had a great game so far. In the first 5.5 minutes, got it on the tape for Guy LaRose. LaRose shot it wide. A missed opportunity by the Wolves on that one. And then as play continues on, Guy LaRose is going to line up Darcy Hordichuk. And just gives Mr. Hordichuk a reminder that you can't run around unabated. You're going to have to pay the price at times. The Wolves really need to kill off this penalty and get Guy LaRose off the hook.
So the Solar Bears move to the power play for the first time. Beaufait, left wing feed, doesn't get in. Martins over the red line. Martins will curl back to his own line, pushes it to Aikens, looks up, and he'll drive it out to the neutral zone where Papier gloves it. Papier, near circle of his own zone, Richards. Richards, back of the net. Watched by Martins, stops. Solar Bears with now a minute and a half remaining in the power play. Here's Richards up the middle. They'll drive it into the far corner. Around it comes. Brown. Couldn't get it out. Near point Richards. Back of the net now for Mason. Met there by Aikens. Far point Pothier. Shoots wide. Rebound. Plant. Steers a backhand up the middle. And Brown will sweep it the length of the ice.
Pretty good catch by Rob Brown. He caught it on his backhand. Was Plant tried to clear it. Still swung around and got it the length of the ice.
Well, the Wolves 14 of the last 14 in games 3 and 4 against the Orlando power play. Buck took a funny hop in the near corner. The Wolves able to clear it up the right side. And here's Nicholas Anderson. Over the line, right side. Anderson to the right circle. Looks and shoots. And he missed the target. Anderson able to tap it by Murphy. Had himself a breakaway, but missed. Center circle now Adams. Over the line, left side. VJ bumped by Bremanis. Far point now. Clark holds, shoots, blocked by Anderson. And Nicholas Anderson will lob one back to the Orlando line. Murphy chased by Martins. Goes deeper into his own zone. Wolves short only another 15 seconds. Here's Clark up the far side. VJ tapped it, but it doesn't go in. The Wolves clear it the length of the ice, and that should just about do it. There's 5 seconds left in LaRose Minor. Now Clark races up the middle, over the line left side. Took a shot from Nardella. LaRose out of the box. Snyder took a pop right of the net at Simon. Centers, high slot Ricky, shoots wide. Rebound to Brown. Brown steers it up the middle and out to center ice. 12 minutes left here in the first and we're scoreless. Weaver up the middle. Shaw back in his own zone. Will throw one over the glass and into the crowd. We're midway through the opening period and scoreless. This is Chicago Wolves hockey.
Moments ago, Curtis Murphy was in point man's, no man's land. Came in to try and keep it in. Nick Anderson got around him. And maybe a symptom of Nick Anderson only having 1 goal in the playoffs. He had a one-on-one and didn't hit the target. Would have been a huge goal for the Wolves shorthanded if they could have gotten it.
Back of the Wolves net, Mason. Near corner Mason. Rolls it back of the net. Belanger trying to help out. Centered out in front, fired. One may have gotten a piece of that. It bounces over to the near wall. Mason. High slot now, Vasilia. Shoots wide. Back of the net it goes. Belanger up the far wall, Loach. Couldn't drive it off his skate. High slot, Vasilia. Shoots, he scores!
Well, the Solar Bears have never trailed in this building in this Turner Cup final. And at least through the first 11:20, they won't trail in this one as they get the opening goal of the game. We talked in the open about discipline, about making plays in your own zone. The Wolves failed to get the puck out. It ends up on the stick of Vasiliev and he puts it away. Long before the Solar Bears start passing the puck around, they get the opportunity to get the goal because the Wolves could not clear their own zone. They had the puck, they couldn't get it out. It ends up in the net. Solar Bears lead 1-0.
Herbie Vasiliev getting his 8th in only 12 games. Vasiliev with 3 goals in the series. And Orlando scores first. And they have now outscored Chicago in the opening period 5-0. And instead of getting the face-off immediately, they're going to clean up some debris in the Chicago end, so that'll take a little sting out of the crowd.
You know what, Judd? I don't understand this. We saw this in Game 2 where the fans here in Orlando, your team scores, they've got momentum, and they throw crap on the ice, and they're killing their own team doing this. I just don't get this. Let's take another look at the goal because, again, it doesn't get back to the passing by Orlando that makes this goal. The Wolves, they have possession of this puck. They simply can't get it out. Down low, they get it, ringing around. Lonnie Loach gets to the puck, it just hops off his stick. Next thing you know, it's going the other direction, and Vasiliev bangs it home to give his team the lead. And, you know, and back to the fans, you've got a full building, and everybody's jacked up, and they have just totally taken the steam out of what the Solar Bear players did on the ice to really get this building jacked up. I just don't get it.
LaRose will step in against Scaldi, wins the faceoff. Scaldi able to tap it off Nardello's stick. Behind the Wolves net. We got a trip and a penalty here on Scaldi. And the Wolves will go to the power play.
Jared Scaldi sat out game 4 because of the suspension, back in the lineup tonight. And we saw a parade to the penalty box last night in game number 4. Eris Permanis, he goes down. And the Wolves are going to get an opportunity in the power play, a power play that has certainly had its problems during this series, but really needs to cash in right now and get the Wolves right back into a tie game.
Drop it here out just beyond the Wolves line. Weaver drives it deep into the Wolves zone, and the Wolves will start their second power play. Nardello behind his net. Nardello, who has 3 goals here in the playoffs, tied for first among league defensemen. To Belanger, he'll fire it into the right corner. Around it comes to the near side. Weaver, near point Anderson. Now Nardello shoots, steered by Miracle over to the far side. And now Snyder out at center ice, around to check, over the line, far wall. Couldn't get it by Anderson, and now a couple of forwards caught deep. Here's Belanger. Over the line, left side, Nardello, left circle, shoots! And that one flew by Miracle. It bounces dangerously out in front, just by Malte and out to center ice. Anderson didn't delay long enough, and we have an offside. The Wolves are having a problem hitting the target.
Well, and Judd, again, another disciplined breakdown for the Wolves, the power play. They have the puck in the Orlando end. They look like they're going to get a decent chance. Look at this. 5 guys all in one half of the ice. The Karam comes out to the far side. Nobody there but Dan Snyder. He's got room to operate, makes a move to get around a man, and he's off and gone. The Wolves are lucky the Solar Bears didn't generate a chance out of that.
I think John Anderson just called Bob Nardello over to talk to him a little bit about that, to maintain patience. 10:26 left here in the first. The Solar Bears up 1-0. Vasilyev's 8th from Mason and Beaufait at 8:40. Near side at center ice. It's Vasilyev. Throws it into the Chicago zone. Cut off by Anderson. Anderson. Left wing Nardello. Right wing now Malte over the red line. Over the blue line for Brown, right circle. Brown had it taken off his stick from behind. He wanted to try and slide it over to the near wall, and it's cleared the length of the ice. Wolves in the power play another 45 seconds. Here's Nardello. Up the left side for Loach. Right wing now, Belanger. Over the line, high slot Belanger. Near wall, Loach. Swings it back of the net. Malte let it roll to the far side, Brown. Far corner now, Malte. Far circle, Brown. Far corner, Malte. Right of the net, Malte. Centers, blocked by Murphy. Far circle, it's Brown. High slot now, near point, Loach. Near wall, Belanger. Near point, Loach. Shoots, blocked by Snyder. And look out, a 2-on-1. Murphy over the line, high slot against Permanis. A drop to Simon. Shoots, he scores!
Well, this is part miscue by the Wolves, and it's also a little bit of bad luck as well. Because after Snyder blocks the shot, he was lying on top of the puck, and there was no whistle. Snyder got up and played it, and Lonnie Loach really had no chance because he was tied up with Snyder, Murphy, and Simon off to the races. You've got a forward going backwards, and this is a bad situation for the Wolves. And now they find themselves down 2-0 in front of a jacked-up crowd on the road. Big problem here. I'll correct something I said. There was Eris Permanis going back. It was not Nick Anderson. So the Wolves at least did have a defenseman going back, but he was going back on a 2-on-1.
Far side at center ice. Shaw dishes it back into his own zone. Orlando back at full strength. Hood over the line, left side. Hood in the left corner. Back of the net now, Noonan. Centers. Just missed Hood. But Hood battles to keep it in, cannot. And out at center ice it comes. 2-0 Solar Bears. Another shorthanded goal. They lead the league in shorties during the regular, here in the playoffs with 5. They had only 7 in the regular season. 8:35 left here in the first. Solar Bears 2, Wolves 0. This is Chicago Wolves hockey.
Welcome back to Orlando. Billy Jaffe ringside, Jim Blaney and Judd Surratt upstairs. Jim Hughes, the assistant coach for the Orlando Solar Bears is responsible for the defense of the Solar Bear Club and the penalty kill as well. Peter Horchak, head coach, told me the other day, he says, I just let him roll and put guys out there that he wants to do, and he's done an outstanding job. It was by judging the 2-0 lead. He's doing a good job already this evening too. Guys?
Right circle, Mason cuts in, and Young able to make the stop, and then Mason drilled by Shaw. Puck still in the near corner. Cruz can't bat it by Vasiliev. The Wolves need a couple of good shifts here to keep themselves in the game. Up the right side, here's Cruz, out at center ice. Cruz over the line, right side. Cruz to the right circle. Cruz to the far corner. Back of the net now, LaRose. LaRose banging along with Richards. Now Clark sends it up the far side, and it's directed out to the neutral zone. Goals by Vasiliev and Simon at 8:40 and 10:42. The latter of which was shorthanded, and we've got a penalty here. And this apparently is going to the Solar Bears for an elbow. Or is it going to the Wolves? I have no idea. There was a collision along the near side.
Judd, the whistle didn't blow until the Wolves touched the puck. This one is going against the Wolves. And it is all coming apart right now for the Wolves. Dallas Eakins goes off to the box. John Anderson's club not looking like the defending champions right now. Driving to the net is Mason. Wendell Young coming out and being aggressive. It's actually Wendell Young that got Mason, not Shaw. Shaw just eliminates his man in the defensive zone. I was very interested to see how the Orlando Solar Bears came out and approached this game tonight, because going back to our original theme of youth versus experience, they're on the verge of clinching. You wonder how they would react. Dallas Eakins getting the penalty. You can draw your own conclusion.
My conclusion is I couldn't see the elbow. Left to the net now, a steal by Anderson again. Try to dribble it out in front. Near corner Scaldi. Back of the net. Martin trying to cause a problem. Pothier with it. Up the near side, here's Adams. Right wing. Over the red line, over the blue line, left side. Far point, now it's drilled over to the near wall. Scaldi. Near side. Near corner Adams. Near point Scaldi. Right of the net now Adams. Near point Scaldi. Rink wide Murphy and Pothier looked at one another, and the Wolves are clear.
I got it, you take it.
Near corner Anderson. He had a shorthanded chance that he failed to score on. In fact, the Wolves had two chances, didn't hit the net. Along the near side, Mason in his own zone. Up the middle now, Pothier, center circle. On the line, far side. Puck free in the far corner of the Wolves' end. LaRose chips it to McBain. He looks up, and he'll power this one off the stick and out to center ice. Wolves short for another 53 seconds. 6:18 left here in the first. 2-0 Solar Bears. Richards drives it into the far corner. Shaw there first, turns, drills it down the length of the ice. Danny Plante on his horse to test Todd Richards. Miracle plays it up the far side. Clark, left wing now for Beaufait. He had an assist on the opening goal. Now Mason, right circle. Mason turns it to the near point. Chased by Bramanis, and Bramanis will clear back into the Solar Bear end. 20 seconds left on the Eakins minor. Richards up the middle. Richards out at center ice. Over the red line. He'll drive it into the far corner. Around it comes Nardella. To the near point now Murphy. Backhand on net. Young the save. Rebound swatted at. And Brown able to get it to Eric Hood, and he'll drive it the length of the ice. And that does it. Eakins is out of the box. But they had a late scare there. Here's Richards up the middle. Out at center ice. Over the red line. Gave it away at the blue line. Shaw trying to prod at Simon. Couldn't get it to him. Now it's gloved by Nardella. Throws it ahead. Fans wanted a penalty for closing his hand on the puck. Instead, we'll have a whistle with 5:06 left here in the first. Orlando 2, Wolves nothing.
Want to finish a thought we started earlier, Judd, about the way the Orlando Solar Bears might react in this game. Well, obviously, coming out of the gate, they're not playing tight like you might expect a young team might sometimes, on the verge of clinching. Well, now let's see how they react to having what I think you can consider, at least in the early going, a big lead in a clinching game. Will they continue to play the type of game that they have played in this series in this building, or will they pull it in a little bit and try and protect a 2-0 lead? almost had another one with a good rush on Wendell Young. The rebound after this one was cleared by Bob Nardella up the middle. Eric Cood got rid of it, so the Wolves dodged one there.
Far corner Weaver took a pop from Brown. Far side Hordichuk as it squirt ahead and out to center ice. Akins moves it back into the neutral zone. Pothier, left wing now Hordichuk. He had the winner in overtime last night. It seemed like that long ago. The Wolves send it up the middle, and here's Belanger. Over the line, high slot. Belanger stops, spun around, near circle Brown, shoots, miracle glove save, and he holds. 4:24 left here in the first, 2-0 Orlando. This is Chicago Wolves hockey.
Norm Miracle's last save gives you an indication of how well he has played, not just in this series, not just in the playoffs, but all year. He has to look through about 8 bodies to the puck, but he is in position, top of the crease, and really, Rob Brown doesn't have a whole lot of room to shoot at there. Miracle made a nice glove save. Wolves in the power play as VJ goes off on a holding call.
Left to the net, Martins centers, high slot Nardella, beaten to the puck by Scully, and he'll tap it back into the Wolves zone. I have this as the Wolves' 3rd power play chance. Cruz at his own line. Now carried back in his own zone, rink wide to Anderson. Up the middle, Martins over the red line, over the blue line right side. Martins dropped to the far point, Noonan. Leaves it there for Anderson. Near point, Nardella. Nardella, near point, Noonan. Noonan, left of the net now, Cruz. Centers, deflected. Weaver with it, and he'll clear. Wolves trying to thread it down low rather than shoot, see if they can get themselves a rebound and crash the net. Martins up the middle now for Cruz. Over the red line, he'll dump it in. Miracle stops it. Clark back of the net. He'll look up. The Wolves took away the board, so he'll fire it down the length of the ice. Wolves in the power play another 55 seconds. 3:17 left here in the opening period. A shorthanded goal by Ben Simon. Herbie Vasilyev's 8th. And the Wolves trail 2-0. Far corner now. Belanger back of the net for Malte. Malte, far corner Belanger. Belanger, far corner now Malte. Right circle Belanger. Shoots, Spherical to save. Rebound held in by Bermanis. He had to sort of wait. Gloved by Bermanis at the near point. He'll flip it over the glass and into the crowd, and we get a stop because the Wolves just can't seem to get anything going.
And they can't get inside the 4 corners of the Orlando box. The Solar Bears have been so disciplined on their penalty kill that for a couple of games now we've seen everything coming from the outside. That puck rolling a little bit and Norm Miracle making the save, but again, Norm Miracle is just looking right in through that box. He doesn't have to worry about any traffic coming in front of him because the Orlando penalty killers are doing such a marvelous job of keeping everybody to the outside.
Coach drives it behind the net. Richards can't swing it out. Beaufait looks up and he'll do it. Young stops it and now sweeps it behind his net. A swat from Vasiliev. Now here's Bermanis. Up left wing Malte. Tried to drive it ahead. That was blocked by Richards. Now McBain. Far side. Malte gets to the puck. Orlando returns to full strength. McBain takes his man off the puck. Malte with it. Back of the net now for Bermanis. Banked it ahead. Pothier keeps this in. And now Belanger got it over the line right side. Far point. The Solar Bears get to it, cleared out to the neutral zone as it looked like a 2-on-1 nearly developed. And the Wolves offside with 1:57 left here in the first. The Solar Bears up 2-0 over the Wolves.
Well, we're into that portion of the period now, Judd, where if the Wolves can get a goal between now and the end of this period, they might be able to take a little bit of air out of the Solar Bears balloon. And a lot of times, the guys you want to get out there to get that opportunity are some guys who can maybe do some forechecking and get an opportunity. So Dan Plon is out there right now, along with Guy LaRose and Eric Cood.
Draw near side at center ice. McBain with it. McBain playing his 3rd game of the postseason. Game in the game 3. Near corner. Cood with a big check on Pothier. Near point, McBain holds it in for a moment. Now VJ gets it out, but it's LaRose coming from behind to get in his way. Orlando still able to drop it behind Wendell Young up the right side. Plot can't get it to lay on his stick. And here comes David Shaw, center circle. Fires one, gloved by Miracle. Fans loving that. Near point, McBain has it bounced by him. DJ couldn't get the puck to roll for him. He holds on to LaRose, and now Shaw over the line eye slot. Far point now Anderson, right circle. Anderson stops, starts right of the net. Anderson back of the net. Anderson near circle. Aiken shoots. Miracle to save. Far side Shaw. Back of the net. Anderson ran into his own guy LaRose. Near corner it's Noonan. Near circle Noonan. Noonan near point. Near point now Anderson. Noonan fell down up high. Shaw gets it back out at center ice. And we get a stop and play. And what are we going to have here?
Brian Noonan was arguing with Terry Koharski. Brian Noonan wiped out at the blue line. He was taken down, didn't get the call. Brian Noonan got up, started jawing with Koharski, and Koharski didn't like it. And Brian Noonan just spoke his piece a little bit too much, and I have a feeling that's what the call is here.
Joining Billy during our first intermission will be Wolves ringer Dan Plant. On TV, we'll recap games 3 and 4 of the Turner Cup Finals in our rewind segment, and we'll have first period highlights and stats, so stay with us. Well, apparently this is going to be a 10 because nothing has popped onto the board.
Well, he teed him up, gave him the T sign, and Brian Noonan skated over to the Wolves bench, wanted Terry Koharski to come over and engage in a little conversation because I'm sure John Anderson has questions as well.
Well, I didn't get a look at it. It was a little bit behind the play. Maybe if we're fortunate enough in the truck, maybe we can find it.
It's because, Judd, I'm always behind the play. It was right after Noonan went down just inside the blue line. And then the play, you're right, the play did go the other way. But Brian Noonan had plenty to say to Koharski, and that's why he's sitting in the penalty box.
Far point now Murphy in the Wolves zone. High slot. Shoots. Back of the net it goes. Airwall Brown drives it up left wing. And back into the Orlando end.
Well, the break, it's unsportsmanlike. It's not a misconduct. So Noonan is only in the box for 2, which is the Wolves need all hands on deck, down 2-0.
Murphy drives it behind the Wolves net. Young plays it around to the near side. Hits Mason in the back. He'll flip it over to the far wall. Murphy tried to club it down. Controlled by Brown, and that'll do it for the opening 20 minutes of play. Well, for the third straight game here in this building, the Wolves trail 2-0. Peter Horacek's team now only 40 minutes away from their first Turner Cup championship. Scoring summary brought to you by Craftsman. Herbie Vasiliev scored his 8th from Mason and Bope after the Wolves failed to clear at 8:40. And then Simon with a wicked wrist shot from point-blank range. Shorthanded at 10:42, his 5th from Murphy and Snyder. And that's all the goal scoring in the opening period. Shots on goal, dead even at 6 apiece. Dan Plant will be our first intermission guest when we return. This is Chicago Wolves Hockey.
The IHL regular season has been one of the tightest in years. Who will survive? Who has the intensity? Toughness, skills. Who has the attitude to be a champion? Coming to an arena near you. The IHL Turner Cup playoffs. You gotta be there.
Welcome back to the TD Waterhouse Center in Orlando. Game 5, Orlando with a 2-0 lead over the Wolves here in the first intermission. And joining Billy Jaffe for our first intermission as a guest, sponsored by LaSalle Bank, it's Danny Plant.
All right, Judd, thanks a lot. Dan, when you came in here and sat down in our studio, you said not the kind of start that we were looking for. What is it with the starts? The Chicago Wolves in the Turner Cup Finals have had a hard time getting the legs going right away.
I don't think you can really put a finger on any one thing. I mean, it's we've been in a hard series so far. These guys are playing really well, and I just think it's one of those things. If you get some bounces early, or some plays happen your way early, it's easier to get involved in the game. And I don't think we came out and really established a forecheck early, and I think it showed up early in the period.
I know hockey players, athletes for that matter, never want to use it as an excuse, but are you feeling it in the legs after the 5 a.m. arrival? I understand both teams did, I know that, but are you guys feeling that?
Well, I mean, I can't speak for everybody else on the team there, but I know for myself, it's hard. You play an overtime game like that and you travel all night and you get here and you don't get a chance really to move around, then it's hard on the body. It's been a long season, and that's why the playoffs, it's an endurance race also. You got to be ready to play every night, and I think we have a veteran team and we'll be all right.
Is it a fair statement to say, Dan, that the Wolves might be a little snake bit offensively? You guys are shooting the puck, but you're not getting down low. And then when you are getting a really good chance, for the most part, you're not getting it by Norm Miracle, only 6 goals against them.
Yeah, I don't know if snake bit's a very good term, because, that's the IHL's MVP over there, Norm Miracle. He's playing really well, and they're playing strong in front of him. They, if you watch their defense play, they always have a defenseman in front of the net. So, he's always got support there. He knows if he makes the first save, they're going to clear out the puck. So, we have to get traffic in front of the net. We have to really crash hard and put as many shots as we can on him right now.
As a veteran player like yourself, you've been through all the battles, all the wars at the NHL, the IHL, the minor league level and college level. When you look across the ice and you see young players over on the Solar Bears bench, do you remember what it was like to be that age and to be at the cusp of perhaps getting their first Turner Cup?
Well, I just remember how I felt last year on the cusp of getting my first Turner Cup. You're full of excitement. You want to play hard, and I mean, it's a huge step. It's something that no one can ever take away from you. And you know what? When you get one, you want another one, and I know everybody in our room wants to get another one, and we're playing hard. It's just that right now, things aren't going well for us. We're really struggling. It seems like everything's a real battle to get things going, and what can you have to give them credit right now. They're playing well.
All right, well, I know you're going to get ready and go battle for the second period. Dan Plante, our guest here in the first period intermission. Wolves are trailing the Solar Bears 2-0. Keep it right here, though. You never know what can happen. Keep right here for more. This is Chicago Wolves Hockey.
Welcome back to the first intermission here at the TD Waterhouse Center. It's Game 5 of the Turner Cup Finals between the Wolves and the Solar Bears. Tonight on our Wolves Rewind segment, we take you through Games 3 and 4 of this championship round series. Beginning Game 3 in Chicago, Richard Shulmistra getting the start. And for the first time in the series, the Wolves would open the scoring. Guy LaRose able to pounce on a rebound by Norm Miracle and pounded in the Wolves up 1-0. But the Wolves enjoyed that lead for only about a minute as Herbie Vasilia fired it at the net. Kevin Dahl deflected it through Richard Shulmistra. We were even up at 1. Then David Shaw in the third period ran over Brett Clark. Clark retaliates, called for a penalty. The Wolves on the man advantage. They hadn't scored a power play goal yet in the finals, and then Steve Malte looked like he tucked it inside the near post. They had to go to the replay. Malte complained to the referee, Wes McCauley. He checked it out, and they ruled that it does bounce inside the near post, and the Wolves with a 2-1 lead over the Solar Bears. It stayed a one-goal contest until late in the game. Orlando pulled for the extra attacker. LaRose pounded it out to center ice, where Belanger, just out of the penalty box, wristed it into the empty net, and the Wolves with a 3-1 lead and a 3-1 victory as Chicago closed to a 2-1 deficit in the championship round. Malte, the game winner. Richard Shulmistra, a marvelous game, making 32 saves. Then last night, Game 4 of the championship round. Once again, it'll be Richard Shulmistra facing Norm Miracle. A huge crowd on hand at the Allstate Arena of more than 10,000 plus. Shulmistra and Miracle 1 and 2 during the regular season in goals against, and both were marvelous in Game 4. Shulmistra had to deal with a lot of traffic out in front. Orlando pounding shots at him, going to the front of the net. Shulmistra was perfect through the first 2 periods. Norm Miracle at the other end didn't face much until after the Wolves got out of the first period, but he made a couple big saves, this one in the third, on a deflection from Aris Bramanis. And then it would be the Wolves again who open the scoring. Noonan finds Bramanis, who taps it by Miracle. The Wolves with a 1-0 lead early in the second period. It stayed that way until midway through the third. Some confusion in the Wolves zone. The puck bounces up high right to Clark. Looks in and fires. It gets deflected just by Shulmistra. It was even up at 1, and we headed into overtime, where Clark again dished it at the front of the net, and it was deflected home. Darcy Hordichuk got credited for the goal. An overtime game winner. Orlando 4-0 in OT this year, and they take game 4 2-1 and take a 3-1 lead in this best of 7 series. Back in a moment. This is Chicago Wolves hockey. Well, once again, it was a productive opening period for the Solar Bears in their home rink, the TD Waterhouse Center. They have a 2-0 lead over the Wolves here in the first intermission of Game 5. Back for highlights and stats in a moment. This is Chicago Wolves hockey.
Highlights from period number 1 brought to you by Clark. Opening goal of the game goes to the Solar Bears, as it has the other 2 times in this building. The Wolves could not clear it. They had possession in their own end. They couldn't get it out of their own zone. Herbert Vasiliev ends up putting it by Wendell Young for the first goal of the game. The Solar Bears off and running once again with a 1-0 lead. Well, later in the period, the Wolves were on a power play. They had a chance to tie the game up at 1. But then the worst thing that could possibly happen happens when you're on a power play. All of a sudden, it's 2-on-1 going the other way. Curtis Murphy and Ben Simon. Simon just drills this one by Wendell Young. 2-0 Solar Bears. So the Wolves, a big mountain to climb, but 40 minutes left in which to do it.
Stats sponsored by Coke after 20 minutes of play. The Wolves 0 for 3 on the power play. The Solar Bears will start out this period with their third. They are scoreless thus far with it, so a pivotal point if the Wolves want to remain in this game and give themselves some hope in this series. Hits 7 for the Wolves, so they come out physical. Orlando with 4, turnovers only 3 apiece. Shots dead even at 6, but Orlando with a 2-0 lead as they have finished on their chances, whereas the Wolves either were stopped by miracle or more often than not missed the target. Both teams back on the ice, getting ready to start the second. Miracle in goal to our right, Wendell Young in goal to our left. Starting out shorthanded for the Wolves, it'll be LaRose and Plant, Dahl and Aikens.
This is going to be, well, you know what, all the 40 minutes left in this are going to be very important, but the first 5 minutes of this period are really going to be big for the Wolves. First of all, because they have to kill off the penalty to Brian Noonan, and then after that, the Wolves have got to find a way to start generating a decent source of shots against Norm Miracle. Not just shots that are pumped on net and are cleared away, but shots that are true scoring opportunities.
Here's LaRose, near point. LaRose, lifts it back of the net, Plant. Back of the net pinned by Pothier. Oh, it's flipped dangerously out in front just by LaRose. But a 3-on-2 the other way. Over the line, right side now Mason. Far circle Mason. Sweeps it around back of the net. Over to the near side. Vasiliev shoveled it back of the net. Aikens bounces it over to the far wall. LaRose will get there first. He'll skate it up the left side and slap it down the length of the ice. So the Wolves now short for another 45 seconds. Pothier back of the net. It's been a fairly quiet final series offensively. Defensively, been just as effective as everybody else on that Orlando squad. The Wolves bounce it up the near side, but like every bounce, this one stays in. Pothier, near wall Scaldi, drilled it over to the far side. McBain clubs it off the far side, and back into the Orlando end. Here's Martins, far circle. Now Martins centers, high slot from Anna, shoots, and he drilled it just wide. Far wall, Adams. Far circle of his own end, Richards. Left wing out, center ice, it's Murphy. Murphy, over the line, high slot, far circle, it's Adams. Do it back the other way, Plant with a steal, and he'll skate up left wing, over the red line, over the blue line, far side. Stops, look for some help. The Wolves back at full strength. BJ knocked down by Martins, back of the net, it's Noonan. Now along the near wall, Adams. Left wing out at center ice for Scaldi. He'll toss it into the far corner. Orlando starting to do some changing, so McBain a little time and room. Shaw up the right side, a dish for Brown. Brown tried to bank it ahead for Malte. Comes back to Shaw, and he'll shovel it into the near corner. Weaver behind his net, stops. Weaver now looking around, still looking. Drives it up the far side, held in by Belanger. Now far corner, Simon in his own zone. Took a pop from Brown. Ricky up left wing. Stays in, high slap Belanger, far circle, Malte. Centers, back of the net it goes. Near wall, Ricky. Near side, Belanger, right of the net, Malte. Malte to the near circle, Brown. Banked it right corner, Malte. Now Weaver takes down Brown with a stick. And look out at center ice, Snyder. Feeds on right wing for Simon. Right circle, Simon around a check, poke check by Young, and the rebound back of the net. And then Shaw crashes into the near post, and we get a stop in play. 17:25 left here in the second. Orlando with a 2-0 lead, but a pretty good shift there by Chicago.
Well, and the good shifts by the Wolves in this game, Judd. A lot of times, Guy LaRose and Dan Plant have been involved. Here comes Ben Simon again. Every time a Wolves goaltender looks up, it seems like Ben Simon is coming at him. Wendell Young comes out of the net that time and decides to be proactive and get to the puck before Simon could make a move with it. And moments before this, Ben Simon took a big hit in the corner from Rob Brown, and after they separated from the boards, Simon wound up like he maybe was thinking about slashing Rob Brown and didn't. Good discipline by Ben Simon.
High slot, Richards shoots, Young a shoulder save, rebound. Good job by the Wolves to tie everybody up. Here's Loach, over the line left side, Loach. Stripped by Clark, far corner Clark, turns back into the traffic. Aikens didn't want to pinch. Over the line, high slot Richards, near point Mason. High slot Vasiliev, shoots, Young with a glove save, and the rebound he paddles out of midair. High slot now Clark, shoots, Young a glove save, and he holds on. 16:56 left here in the second. 2-0 Orlando. This is Chicago Wolves hockey.
You can make the argument that Wendell Young and Steve Malte are the cornerstones of the Wolves franchise, and right now, Wendell Young, he has to be perfect from now on. He can't give up any more goals. If the Wolves are going to get back in this thing, the pressure is squarely on him, but he's a veteran player. He's used to it. He's been there before.
Far corner, Vijay gets the puck away from Noonan. Noonan has lost his stick. Up the left side, Martins.
Oh, and Noonan just got away with one.
Noonan kicks it into the slot. Martins drives it up the left side and out to center ice. Pothier at his own line. Pothier, center circle. Pothier. Oh, Aikens moved up and just drilled him. And we've got a trip.
Well, and the Wolves, you know what? They should have been shorthanded anyway, because Brian Noonan really got away with it a few moments ago on JPVJ. Although I can't blame Brian Noonan. Brian Noonan's upset, I'll tell you why. He lost his stick in the corner, and Brian Noonan, here's a look at the penalty as Pothier comes through the neutral zone. He's going to get popped. But Brian Noonan, every time he bent down to pick up his stick, JPVJ kicked at it and knocked it farther away from Brian Noonan. And eventually, Brian had enough, and he just popped VJ right across the mouth. Terry Koharski didn't see that one. And Brian Noonan is, you know, I don't blame him for what he did. He got away with it, but I think Koharski knew it, and that might be a makeup call, because quite honestly, that didn't look that bad. But the Wolves find themselves going to have to kill off another penalty.
This is the fourth time Orlando's on the power play. Along the near side, Plant drilled it up to the near wall. Beaufait, high slot Richards, near point Beaufait's got an assist tonight. Coming down low is Murphy, right out in front. Beaufait to the high slot. Beaufait holding on to it. Near point, Murphy's cross-ice pass hits LaRose and down into the Wolves, or towards the Wolves bench it comes. Chicago able to change a little bit. Wolves short for another minute 25. Center circle Beaufait. Over the line, high slot. Near point now Murphy. Left of the net, Murphy. Centers, picked off by Anderson. Anderson will race the other way. Right wing feed, Martins. Over the line, right side, Martins into the slot, shoots! And I think he roofed it over the top. A Miracle who barely moved. Out at center ice. Martins collides with Shaw. The puck is free. Martins looks like he's a little stung and favoring a leg. And he's now going to change. Hopefully he's okay. Up the left side, Scaldi. High slot, Vijay. Shoots, blocked. Near point now, Richards. Near side, Vijay. Near corner now, Scaldi. Lost it along the near wall, and it's cleared by Orlando. Back into their own end. The Wolves on the power play, or pardon me, shorthanded for another 30 seconds. Just under 15 minutes left here in the second. 2-0 Solar Bears here in Game 5. Left side at center ice, Richards. Took a pop from LaRose. Romanis looks up, and he'll drill it down the length of the ice. Pothier back of his net. Gave it away, or nearly did. Left circle, Brown shoots. Missed the net. Near side, Romanis holds it in. Romanis right corner. Romanis spun off the puck by Pothier. Is it me, or does Orlando look a little sloppy? Near point now, Romanis. Back of the net now, looking for Brown as Aikens returns. Far side at center ice, Malte couldn't muscle Clark off the biscuit. Young has it behind his net. Here's Permanis. Lead up the right side. Belanger got it ahead. Belanger just had it bounced by him out in the neutral zone. And we've got a hand pass. 14 minutes left here in the second. 2-0 Orlando.
Rob Brown and the Wolves forcing the issue a little bit. And Judd, I think you make a good observation. The Solar Bears have looked a little disorganized, and it's very important for the Wolves to get the goal that will make it 2-1, because it may be one of those cases where then the Solar Bears are going to have to start thinking about how close they are to accomplishing their goal, put a little pressure on them. Let's go to Billy Jaffe.
Opportunity, Jimmy. I'm just following up on what you're talking about. When Steve Martins had a breakaway or partial breakaway on the short-handed situation and missed the net completely, so what John Anderson was talking to me about after we did the interview with Dan Plante, he said we are not taking advantage of our offensive opportunities, and when they get their opportunities, they're burying them. Plain and simple, he says that's the reason we're down. Back upstairs.
Well, we talked about that in our open. It's the offense that has to respond for Chicago. Back of the Wolves net, Snyder. Grabbed by Aikens. Back of the net, Poivert. Swatted over the near side. Hordichuk looking for a call in the slot. Not going to get it. Near corner now, Snyder. Well, he's really killed the Wolves. 3 goals in the series, 2 game winners, 5 points, including a helper tonight. Near corner, Hood had it bounced by him. Left of the net now, it's Snyder. I don't know if he really got a backhand off. Wolves can't get it out, however. Back of the Wolves net, Young.
Oh, what a great screen by Wendell Young on Hordichuk.
Along the near side, Dahl marches it back behind his net to his partner Aikens. Up the middle, Weaver knocked it down. Dahl has it. They'll throw it out to the neutral zone, and we have a 2-line pass. With 12:55 left here in the second, 2-0 Solar Bears. This is Chicago Wolves hockey.
2-0 Orlando coming up on midway through period number 2. Email from Paul in Tinley Park. As a season ticket holder, I have heard a rumor about the Wolves, and I am wondering if the rumor I heard about the IHL breaking up after the finals is true. Also, are the players that are with the team now going to be there next year? And is the team moving leagues and going to the AHL with a totally new team for next season? Paul, the Chicago Wolves will be undergoing some changes because there are some changes coming to minor pro hockey. But one thing that is not going to change about the Wolves, and that is the fact that they are always going to put a quality team on the ice, and that their goal will be to provide top quality entertainment to their fans, of which there are many of them, and with the goal of winning championships. And I think if you look at the team the way it's been constructed over the last 4 years, you have seen turnover in the players, but one thing is maintained true. The Wolves have always been one of the last teams playing in the IHL each year, and that's not going to change.
Wolves fire the puck up the right side and into the Orlando zone. Back to get it is Papier. I'll tell you, in to apply some pressure. Far point. McBain didn't really keep it in. As the boards and the glass here really don't give a true hop to the players, so it's difficult for the goaltenders to play the puck, or for everybody to keep it in at the points. Malte dumps it to the right of the net. Miracle. Back of the net. Sort of left it for Ricky, and sort of a suicide play, but the Wolves get caught deep. And the line left side now, Mason into the slot, picked off by Shaw. He's got Malte over the line left side. Malte to the left circle, shoots, Miracle to save. Rebound, sent up the far side and back into the Wolves' end. Malte getting off a good racket, but Miracle giving up rebounds, but doesn't have to worry because his team has been all over that puck in front of him. A big difference in the series. Center circle now, it's Scaldi. On the line left side. For Adams left of the net. Return, Scaldi shoots, Young a pad save. Rebound far circle, Scaldi shoots, and that one he roofed into the near corner. Simon along the near side. Blunt dribbles it ahead, and now here's Nardella up right wing. Wanted to bring it in, but his extra move drew everybody just a step over the line, so he regroups in the neutral zone, and the Wolves will punch it into the right corner. Richards lines it up the near side. Adams. The bump from behind by Anderson. Just wafted out to the neutral zone. Nardella moves up, creates a turnover. Puck at the high slot, off the skate. Comes out to center ice. Permanis will fire one in. Miracle stops that. The fans go wild.
He didn't even bring a sweat.
Well, he hasn't for a lot of the series, even though the shot totals might disagree. Here's Martins over the line high slot. Martins, far circle, Noonan, backhand, Miracle to save, and he holds on.
Hey, Judd, how about this? And you've talked about it a couple times during the game tonight, about how none of the breaks are going the Wolves' way. And here's a really good example of something really, really small, but it makes a huge difference. Steve Martins is coming in. Brian Noonan all by himself. He's a right-handed shot coming up the left side. And he had the puck on his backhand and had to put a backhand on net. And of course, it's a little bit harder of a shot. If that pass goes to a left-handed shot, I think that thing's in the net. But again, a small thing, but it's the kind of break that hasn't gone the Wolves' way this entire series.
Noonan 1 goal, 7 points here in the playoffs, including an assist last night on the Wolves' lone goal.
Because Steve Martins couldn't throw it behind Noonan on his forehand because there was a defender there.
Far point Dahl shoots, blocked, and the rebound over to the near side. Here's Snyder up left wing over the red line. Slots it in, Young out to play it. Stops it, throws it up the near wall. Weaver with a pop from Noonan. And now we've got a stop and play as Hordichuk collides with Akins. What do we have here?
Brian Noonan was coming up the wall trying to punch it out into the neutral zone, and Mike Weaver thought, okay, here's my chance. I'm really going to lay out number 16. And Brian Noonan saw Weaver coming out of the corner of his eye and just shut down the engine a little bit right before impact, and Weaver missed him. Well, Brian Noonan's been around too long not to recognize that.
So Noonan will grab a seat. Weaver has really taken a pounding in this series, but he just keeps coming back. This kid is very solid. One of the 9 Orlando rookies on the roster. Shaw, rink wide for McBain. Up the middle, Plant. Pass ahead blocked. He'll carry it in himself. Lost it at the high slot. And it just comes out to center ice. Cruz off the turnover, shovels it deep. Back of the net now, Miracle. Leaves it for Coleman. Far point held in by McBain. Shoots, deflected over the net. Along the near side, Cruz. Cruz right circle. High slot, Plant. Shoots, deflected. Miracle to save, rebound. Miracle able to make the stop. And he holds on. And now we've got a little battle in the crease as Norm Miracle has had to be a little bit more active as Chicago has generated some forechecking pressure.
2 times in that sequence, we saw Norm Miracle have to deal with a puck that had been deflected on its way to the net. And that's something we haven't seen a whole lot of in this series. Initial shot, that was deflected. Miracle made the save. And then after the second deflection, he had to reach behind him with the glove between his legs to keep that one from going in. Actually, that one went off a skate. But because the Wolves have not been generating a lot of traffic in front of Norm Miracle, he has not had to do those saves where you have to pick up the puck after a change in direction. And for example, that's somewhat what happened last night on the game winner in overtime by Darcy Hordichuk.
Well, Rob Brown said he was just so frustrated because there were a couple of times the puck was lying on the goal line, right between his pads, and he just couldn't get to it.
Right. And that's because the Orlando defensemen have really done a marvelous job of keeping the Wolves forwards from out in front of the net. There's a reason why the Wolves forwards aren't getting there. It's not because they're not trying to get there.
Richards behind his net, drives it around to the far side. Nardella just has it skip by him. He'll send it in intentionally, and so we'll have a face-off from the Chicago end with 9:48 left here in the second. 2-0 Solar Bears. Both goals coming in the opening period. Vasilyev's 8th, Simon shorthanded his 5th.
Get another look at Jim Hughes, who is the man responsible for making the defensive changes and drilling the guys in the penalty kill. And if things keep going the way they are, you may look at it and say, well, you know what, that's the difference in the series. The Wolves came into this game tonight 5% on the power play.
Left to the net, out in front. Young, a great poke check on Mason. He's lost his stick, however, gets it back. Along the near side, down the near corner, Beaufait drilled against the wall by Bermanis. He bounces off him. Mason took a hip check. Now Beaufait far circle. Far side for Richards, right of the net, Richards. Centers, deflected. They score! Look at those bounces.
In a nutshell, that is the difference in this series between the Wolves and the Orlando Solar Bears. You saw the Wolves the other end having trouble getting traffic to the front of the Orlando net. Meanwhile, on the other end, almost every time an Orlando shot goes toward the net, there's a couple of Orlando Solar Bears crashing the net, chopping at the puck, not giving Wendell Young or in the other games, Rich Shomistra, any chance to get a stick of the puck. That puck just deflects right out in front of the net. It doesn't make any difference if there's nobody there for Orlando, but there is. And Wes Mason having an absolute huge series along with the rest of the Orlando Solar Bears. Vasiliev was there too, even though he was locked up with Belanger. Even though the guys are covered, the fact that they're in front of the net is giving the Solar Bears a lot of second chance opportunities.
That was Todd Richards' goal. We'll get that confirmed in a moment. So the Wolves now trail 3-0 here in Game 5. Along the near side, it's LaRose. Didn't get it out. Near point, BJ holds it in. Got around a couple of guys. Backhands it deep. Young holds it around to the far wall. Knocked down by one of the Solar Bears. And now coming ahead, here's Loach. Over the line. High slot LaRose, who couldn't really time it right because he was getting a stick. And we got to stop and play. 8:52 left here in the second. 3-0 Solar Bears. This is Chicago Wolves hockey. Todd Richards got the last goal, his second of the playoffs, and only his second point of this series. He is one of the few Solar Bears who has ever won a championship. It came back in '91. He won the Calder Cup with Springfield, the American Hockey League. He is one of the original members of this franchise back in '95-96. Only he and Beaufait have played every season. And Beaufait, by the way, collected an assist, his second of the night, on that last goal. Young cradles it behind his net. Shaw swings it off the wall. Simon keeps this in. Back of his net, Shaw. And a poke check. Martin's in to scoop it up. Slides it out in front. Fed out in front by Snyder, and Young able to block that. Now Anderson over the line, right side. Anderson to the near corner. Back of the net. Oh, he got drilled by Snyder. A clean check. And behind the play, Snyder got knocked down by Noonan. And we're going to have a penalty here. Well, I thought the Wolves touched. No call was made. I think the Wolves a little bit stunned here. Puck right of the net. And now we will get the stop. As I think someone wanted to exact some punishment on Snyder, who's the guy who eliminated LaRouche last night in such a way where he left his feet, fired an elbow, and really, based on precedent, should have been suspended.
Judd, I am stunned that Snyder is playing in this game tonight, based on the suspension that was given to Jared Scaldi after his elbow in Game 3. Here's the hit. Nick Anderson behind the net, just gets leveled. And then Brian Noonan takes exception to the elbow that was thrown by Snyder because, as Judd mentioned, Snyder's elbow was the one that knocked out LaRouche, and Brian Noonan, you know what? Brian Noonan has had enough. He's had enough at guys getting run at, and Brian Noonan is sticking up for his teammates there.
Well, Noonan will head into the sin bin.
Well, let's get back to the hit last night, Judd. I am, if it were an elbow and his feet were planted on the ice, then maybe there's a little, but when you jump in the air and lay an elbow to a guy's head, you're trying to injure somebody. That's just all there is to it. And Snyder is just lucky to be suited up for this game tonight. And I can't believe that he essentially ran at Nick Anderson in the same spot on the ice, except in the Allstate Arena last night, where he wiped out Steve LaRouche.
Well, that looked like a clean check, this last one by Snyder.
Right.
But he didn't lead with his forearm or elbow the way he did on a previous check.
But that elbow was still up there.
So the Wolves shorthanded.
But we're nitpicking because it's 3-0 midway through the second.
Far point, Pathia shoots, and that one knuckles wide. Along the near side, centered, Mason in the slot. Tried to return to Vasiliev, just behind him. Back to the Wolves net, it squirts over to the far wall. Pathia, Boyd's Dahl, near corner Vasiliev, near side Beaufait. Near corner now Vasiliev, near circle Beaufait. Beaufait to the high slot, left to the net Vasiliev. He got the pass through, but it missed both Mason and Pathia. Back of the net now, Mason. Near corner, Beaufait. High slot, Richards. Near point, Beaufait. His pass blocked by LaRose. LaRose on the near side, couldn't drive it out. Now it comes to Aikens, and he will crank one out to center ice. Plant backhands it down the length of the ice, and the Wolves are short for another minute. This is Orlando's 5th chance in the power play.
Judd, does it look like there's more people in here than there were, say, midway through the first?
Not really.
I think people are doing what they did the year the Wolves won at the Horizon against the Detroit Vipers, where more people came into the building as the game wore on.
Back of the Wolves net now, it's BJ. Hit by Brown. Near corner, BJ to the near point Clark. Far point Murphy. Left circle, a pass for BJ. Played it off his skate but couldn't hold it. Now along the far side, Murphy took a chop and we're going to have a penalty on Brown. Solar Bears don't see it as it's cleared back into their zone. Miracle will play it up the left side. If they give it to a Wolf, they'd have a two-man advantage.
Or put it on net.
And they do now. Brown took a hack. And this is what we talked about in the open. Discipline, even though it's 3-0.
Well, Norm Miracle was coming out of the net to go off for the extra attacker, and he ended up with the puck. The way Norm is going in this series, he should have just rushed it up ice, taken a shot. Everything else is working for him, why not?
Well, the Wolves have only hit him with 10 tonight.
Of course, Norm can't cross the center line, so.
Even if he has the puck?
Well, here's the thing. He has to go across the center line to get to the bench.
I'd give him the leeway. Rob Brown sits for slashing. Brown scoreless in his last 3. Second in the league in minors coming in. So Orlando with a two-man advantage here for 14 seconds. Far point Richards, high slot Pothier. Far point Richards. Right circle now Scaldi. Far point Richards. Into the slot for Mason. Near corner now Beaufait. Now LaRose gets a piece of it. Out at center ice is Noonan. So it's a 5-on-4 now. The far side Richards. Rink wide Beaufait. And slide off his blade and in. The Wolves clear it back to the Orlando line. Orlando now. Again, this is their 6th power play chance. The Wolves have had 3. As Eric Rude cannot drive it out at the far point, but the Solar Bears will do it themselves. Orlando now plus 23 power plays to penalty killing in the playoffs. And it's not really just been against the Wolves. Whoever they played, they have really frustrated. That was certainly the case against Grand Rapids. Clark behind his net. 5:12 left here in the second. 3-0 Solar Bears. 2 in the first, 1 in the second. Near point from Annis. He'll lob at the length of the ice. Murphy, back of his net. Murphy with an assist tonight. Only his 2nd point here in the final. Lost it at the line, and the Wolves will crank it down the length of the ice. Clark chases in the near corner. Murphy slides it around to the far side. Oh, look out! Anderson with a crushing check on Simon, and no penalty there. Over the line, right side. Snyder. Right of the net now, Simon. Tripped up. Far circle, fired. Good one. A stop out in front on the redirection. Far point now, Murphy. Blocked by McBain. And Martins will send it back into the Orlando end. 5 seconds left in the minor to Brown. Wow, Ben Simon just got crushed. And that could be an interesting non-call for Terry Koharski.
By a player who is really not known for being that physical, but Nick Anderson has certainly taken his lumps in this series.
Wolves cleared up the middle and out to center ice. They are back at full strength. They've been shorthanded 4 times in this period. They're still somehow within range, trailing 3-0. But they need to have something happen here good soon. Puck fired out in front. Young with a deflection. VJ able to make the stop. Sent over to the near side. Brown backhands it ahead. Shaw trying to paw it free at the near point. He does get it free. Along the near side at center ice, Weaver and Belanger kicking at it. Still kicking at it. They want him to move it. Still they battle along the near side. Comes to Bermanis. Throws it on goal. Miracle drives it up the far side. Brown waved at it. The Wolves making some changes. And here's Scaldi over the line right side. Scaldi, far point. High slot now, Ricky. Shoots, blocked. Coming the other way is Shaw. For Belanger. Right wing, it's deflected in. Noonan chasing, can't get to it. Vasiliev over the line left side. Vasiliev spun around. Near corner, it's Murphy. Stops. Murphy leaves near circle for Beaufait. Shoots, Young the save. Rebound over to the far side. And here's Cruz. Maybe the Wolves will dump it in here. They won't. Cruz over the line left side. Far point. Now to the far circle, it's Loach. Centers. blocked. Fire circle, Noonan shoots, blocked again. And the rebound cleared. It's going to be icing as Aikens comes back to touch. 2:20 left here in the second. 3-0 Orlando. This is Chicago Wolves hockey.
Ben Simon is very fortunate that they don't have seamless glass here at the TD Waterhouse Center. His face goes right between the partitions, but the fact that the glass gives in this building saved him from a concussion. And Wendell Young, after another miscued attempt to try and clear by the Wolves, has to come up with another big save. That hit by Anderson on Simon looked very similar to a hit that Gary Suter took in Game 1 of the playoffs between the Blues and the Sharks, and Suter was done for the series. Difference, seamless glass in the arena in St. Louis. Here they have the partitions.
Along the far side, Richards able to strip the puck from Noonan. Noonan gets it back. On the line right side, Dahl. Dahl swings it into the right corner. Clark gives it away to Noonan. Back of it at Noonan. Noonan ready to get it to the far corner for Loach. Back of it at now Snyder. Chopped up the far side and cleared out to center ice. Here's Hordichuk. Overskated it. That'll give a few guys a free shot. Clark now up left wing. Drives it in, and he'll change. With 1:38 left here in the second. And the Wolves trailing 3-0 here in Game 5. Wolves clear at the length of the ice, touched by Weaver, and we have icing. Chicago. With 1:27 left here in the second.
Well, Game 3 in Winnipeg, the Wolves were in this very similar situation, down 3-0, getting toward the end of the second period. And in that game, they got a goal from Paul Cruz right before the end of the period. And they took it from there and went on to a big victory. They also did something similar in game number 6. So they've done it before, but I think the difference between those games and this one, at least right now, is the Wolves just don't have anything going positive in their direction. The first thing they have to turn around is just the general direction of the way things are going in this game. Got to get it out of neutral and thrown into forward without grinding off any more gears.
Rob far circle in the Wolves' end. Wolves have yielded only 17 shots. It's pretty good, despite being shorthanded 6 times. But again, that makes it harder for you offensively as well. You're forced to kill that many penalties.
Because many times your top players are playing the penalty kill now, and those guys get worn down.
High slot of the Wolves' zone. BJ shoots. Loved by Young. Puts it down. McBain stops. Under a minute to play in the opening period. Picked off by BJ. McBain trying to get it back. BJ banging away at him in the far corner. Far point now. Papier shoots. Young to save. And along the near side. Blunt. Around to Skaldychek over the line right side. A drop for LaRose. Into the slot. LaRose. Left circle. Nardella. Rink wide. Hood shoots. Miracle. His night. His series. Vasiliev on the line right side. Bumped. Backhand. Can't get it up. Young scrambles. And we've got to stop. And a penalty is going to go, I think, to Chicago. 21.5 seconds left here in the second. 3-0 Solar Bears. During our second intermission, Wolves defenseman Mike McBain will join Billy for our LaSalle Bank interview on TV. Jim and I will go inside the series for more on the Wolves and the Solar Bears, and of course, we'll have second period highlights and stats, so stay with us.
Eric Hood with a fine shot at the other end. He is going away from the net. This is after some nice stick work by Guy LaRose. Boy, Hood gets spun around, still finds the puck. He's going away from the net. Got off a good shot. Pad save with the right leg by Norm Miracle. And here come the Solar Bears again. Vasiliev cuts into the middle. Wendell Young, as we've seen him do so many times, goes out with a stick. Vasiliev still had the puck, but just didn't have an angle to get the shot teed up. Bob Nardella goes off to the penalty box, so the Wolves will finish off the last 21 seconds of this period trying to kill off yet another penalty.
And a credit to the Solar Bears. You know, I talked about the power play penalty killing differential. They are forcing the Wolves to take a lot of these, either because they're generating scoring chances or just because they're frustrating Chicago in general. Here's Beaufait, high slot of his own zone, 5 seconds left here in the period. He'll take it behind his net. And that'll do it for the second 20 minutes. Well, now the Solar Bears only 20 minutes away from hoisting the cup. Norm Miracle, a fine period. We talked about him in our open, and he has a 3-0 lead The IHL MVP does. Entering the second intermission. Scoring summary brought to you by Craftsman. Todd Richards from the right of the net threw it out in front. It deflected off of Jesse Belanger's back and in. And that type of series. Time of the goal, 10:32 for Richards' second. Mason and Beaufait the assists. Shots on goal after 40 minutes in favor of Orlando, 19-11. Stay with us. Mike McBain will be our second intermission guest when we return. This is Chicago Wolves Hockey. Welcome back to the second intermission of Game 5. The Solar Bears with a 3-0 lead over the Chicago Wolves here at the TD Waterhouse Center. And Mike McBain has been kind enough to join Billy Jaffe for our second intermission interview, sponsored by LaSalle Bank.
Oh, you're absolutely right, Judd, Mike. We really appreciate you taking a moment to join us. I know it's a tough situation, down 3-0, trailing 3-1. And we were talking before we went on air that you guys really aren't getting a lot of the bounces, and the team is realizing that. Is frustration set in completely out there?
Well, I think a little bit, but you know, we've scored 3 goals in a period before, and no one's given up, and we just got to try and plow through those situations and do the best we can.
Now, I know John Anderson and Marty Howe, your coaches, have talked about being smart, being disciplined, but from a casual observer's perspective, there have been some excess penalties taken by your team. What is being done on the bench to kind of stay away from taking those penalties, because you know how good their their power play is?
Well, I think everyone knows, you know, we shouldn't be taking penalties. That's something that happens. Maybe the ref isn't giving us all the breaks we need, and maybe there's some penalties that they deserve, but that's hockey, and that happens sometimes. And like I said, we got to work through it and try not to think about it and just stay disciplined.
Mike, you came in a few games ago, taking the place of a fellow defenseman, Glenn Featherstone, in the lineup. How have you felt? Now, I know in the first game, we talked a little bit, you said your rear end hurt because you fell, but how have you felt getting into the championship hockey? And has it been difficult as the games have gone on, keeping your stamina up, having not played an awful lot before?
Well, I think a little bit, but I worked pretty hard to stay in shape, and I felt pretty good the first game, a little bit sore the second game, and feel good this game. It hasn't been too bad. The speed is really, really fast out there. I mean, guys are hitting hard and skating fast, and but I'm just trying to adjust and do the best I can.
All right, take us inside the locker room right now. What are you guys going to talk about doing? You're facing one period, 20 minutes before elimination from the 2000-2001 Turner Cup.
Well, I think save nothing, you know. Just go out and give it our all and see what happens. Like I said, we've came back before for more than 3 goals, and anything can happen. We just got to stick to it and work hard.
All right, so this is the anything can happen period, brought to you by Mike McBain, and I'm sure by the rest of the Chicago Wolves. Mike, we appreciate really taking a moment to join us. Keep it right here for more. Wolves trail 3-0 at the end of 2. This is Chicago Wolves hockey.
Welcome back to the TD Waterhouse Center in Orlando here in the second intermission of Game 5. The Solar Bears with a 3-0 lead over the Wolves. While the Wolves battle for a 3rd Turner Cup championship, don't forget that a brand new season of Wolves hockey will get underway this fall, and a $150 non-refundable deposit puts you on the priority list for season tickets in the best available seat locations. Plus, when you place a deposit for new seats, you'll get a free Wolves replica jersey courtesy of Coca-Cola. For more information or to put a deposit on 2001-2002 season tickets, call 1-800-THE-WOLVES. Judd Surratt and Jim Blaney back at the TD Waterhouse Center, and tonight we're going to take a look inside the series at a couple of things. First of all, Jim, we're going to take a look at how well Orlando plays in front of Norm Miracle. He is seeing some shots, making those initial saves, and not having to face second opportunities.
Norm Miracle said it himself after winning the MVP of the IHL. He credited his defenseman for helping him win the award and maybe even bringing him the award itself. Well, during this series, we have constantly seen Norm makes the first stop, one of the defensemen comes by and cleans up the puck. It has happened time and time again. And a goaltender, they're going to do well when they make the initial stop and get help from their defense. Look at this. Norm Miracle was out of the net. He had 3 black shirts going to the front of the net to help him out, even when he got caught out of position. Again, Miracle makes the initial save. Puck is lying there, but plenty of help around to help out Norm Miracle. And when you have that, that is overall team defense. And you look at teams with potential of winning championships, that's one of the ingredients. Are you relying on your goaltender to win you games all by himself, or are you giving him a little help?
Jim, defensively, another thing that can help the Wolves, and we'll see if they can come out of here, if their offense can score some goals and give them some hope in this series. But defensively, they fixed things on their penalty killing. Now they need to provide some back pressure 5-on-5.
Okay, we're going to take a look at a situation on the second goal of the game to illustrate what Judd is talking about. Let's take a look at Aris Bermanis back at the point. This is prior to the shorthanded goal. Now, excuse me, it's Lonnie Loach. Lonnie Loach, he's in no man's land. He has really no help because he's got to try and keep the puck in, but because of the fact that first Murphy and then Simon had jumped up into the plate, they were supporting each other and getting out on the rush. But if you look at the example, Aris Bermanis is the only guy back on the play. Somebody who was in deep in the zone had to come back and help out on that because Loach got left out on the point by himself. He was really in no man's land. Bermanis was back by himself. Orlando got a shorthanded goal because they supported and the Wolves didn't.
Well, Jim, Mike McBain says the team hasn't given up, even though they're down 3-0 after 40 minutes. We'll bring you back for stats and highlights in a moment. This is Chicago Wolves Hockey.
Second period highlights brought to you by Clark. 2-0 in favor of the Solar Bears going into period number 2. The Solar Bears get the goal that makes it 3-0. Just one of those plays where you throw it out in front of the net, you never know what might happen. Todd Richards did. He ends up with his second goal of the series. The Solar Bears build a comfortable 3-0 lead. But the Solar Bears, as much as the goals have been key, so has the goaltending of Norm Miracle. He has been outstanding. Dan Plott drops it off at the blue line. Guy LaRose able to cut into the middle. Makes a sweet pass right on the money, comes back to Eric Hood. Check out this save by Norm Miracle, leaning the wrong way because it was shot back across his body. He still had the answer, as he has had for every one of the shots the Wolves have thrown on goal so far in this game.
Stats after 40 minutes, sponsored by Coke. Orlando leading in shots 19-11. A lot of that due to the 6 power play chances they've had in the game. They're scoreless thus far with it, and they will have their 7th to start this period. There's a minor penalty on the board to Bob Nardella. Hits, the Wolves are still throwing the body around. They got 14, but 10 turnovers through 2 periods. Too many against this team, and they trail 3-0.
The crowd on hand here at the TD Waterhouse Center. They are ready for a celebration. 20 minutes to go. One of two things is going to happen here. There will either be that big celebration, or we'll be talking about one of the greatest comebacks in Wolves history. So there are your parameters as we get ready for period number 3. But the Wolves, if they're going to make a comeback, they have to figure out a way how to get the puck past this guy. They have only done it a total of 3 times in the last almost 3 games now. Remember the 1 goal by Jesse Belanger in game number 3 was an empty netter.
Well, we'll see what happens. Guy LaRose steps on the ice. We'll probably see the opening shift shorthanded. LaRose has had a marvelous playoff run. A couple of big goals. He had the goal to get the Wolves started in game 3, and the game-tying goal in Winnipeg. Actually, it was the goal that brought the Wolves within 1 when they started their rally in the 3rd period in game 6. That's because he went hard to the net.
You know what though, Judd, that even though that was the goal that got him within 1, that for all intents and purposes was the game-winning goal, because the air just went out of the balloon of the Manitoba Moose after that one.
Center circle, a face-off taken by Vasiliev. He's got a goal tonight. That opened the scoring at the 8:40 mark in the first. Vasiliev off the end boards to the far corner. Richards, Wolves short for another minute 20. Richards, center circle. Fires it off the stick, over the glass, and into the crowd.
Another thing that's going to work against the Wolves here in the 3rd period is the fact that I am sure the Orlando Solar Bears are going to pull it in just a little bit. They have a big lead, and while I think they'll still be aggressive because that's how they've gotten to the within 20 minutes of winning a Turner Cup, the fact of the matter is you still got to be smart. You would expect them to take a whistle whenever there's any doubt in their mind. So that's why the Wolves, they need to get a goal early here in the 3rd and maybe build some momentum and see what happens after that.
Far point in his own end. Richards. Up the left side now, Mason. High slot, Beaufait. Far circle, Beaufait. Far point now, Richards. Rink wide, Pauthier. Shoots. Didn't get through. And here's LaRose up left wing. Over the red line, that puck wobbling around. Swatted into the high slot. Taken away by Pothier. Wolves short for another 45 seconds. Mason had it stripped from behind by LaRose. Mason hauled down LaRose. And we continue. Pothier up right wing over the red line. Drives it high to the right corner. Around it comes. Shaw with a big check on DJ. Far corner now, it's Adams. Back of the net now, Scaldi. High slot. Murphy shoots Young. A glove save as he slid out the challenge. Wendell Young's done a pretty good job. Not much he could have done on any of the goals. He was screened on the first. A 2-on-1 the other way as Simon came in for the shorthanded goal midway through the opening period. And then Richards' shot deflected off one of his own guys and in. The Wolves no longer shorthanded. Far point Romanis shoots, and Romanis ripped it wide. It comes into the slot for Martins. Martins took a shot to the side of the head, and the Wolves.
Here you go.
This
right
might
here.
be their chance.
Yep. It's going to be a cross-checking call. Steve Martins goes down. That was right after a wicked shot by Aris Romanis as he came on a change. And that's this little cross-check to the side, and a 3-0 game when your team is in control, you cannot take a penalty like that, because that's the only way the Wolves are going to get back into this game. Wendell Young, we have seen him at times in this game really come out to the top of the crease and challenge. That was a marvelous save. Kept it at 3-0, and now with Jared Scaldi in the box, the Wolves, they have to cash in here.
I would say so. I think we're at that point. Stevie Martins will grab a seat. He's played hard. He just hasn't been as productive as he was when he was here the first time around in the postseason. And I think that's a credit to the Wolves' opponent and to the league in general. Far side in the Orlando end, Anderson. Far corner, Malte. Far side, Brown. Brown to the far point. Puck rolling around. Saucers it rink wide, Nardella. Left of the net now, Belanger. Into the slot, Brown. Faked. And it's slapped away. Picked off by Weaver, and he'll send Simon up the middle. He has a shorthanded goal. His second of the playoffs against the Wolves. Orlando leading the league in the postseason with 5 shorties. Over the line, high slot, Malte. And Malte doesn't like the call from the linesman, but we have an offside. Chicago on the power play for another minute 18.
Belanger was about half a stride in offside. On the previous Wolves chance, they worked the puck around, got it into the deep slot to Rob Brown. But another example of how the Solar Bears are really supporting each other on defense. Ben Simon comes across and eliminates the play, even though it was on the opposite side. Belanger just in ahead of Steve Malte. 1:18 remaining on the power play.
Noonan at his own line, Loach. Lonnie Loach playing his second game of the playoffs. Up right wing now, Cruz. Cruz to the right corner. Back of the net now for Loach. Loach along the near side. Tried to swat it deep. Near corner, Noonan. Back of the net now, Martins. Near corner, Noonan. Near point, Loach. Rink wide, Romanis at the far point. Near point, Noonan. Shoots. Blocked. A little slow with that shot. Back of the net now, Richards with a little time and room. And he'll crank it out to center ice and down. Romanis back of his net. Up the left side, Noonan. Returns for Martins. Up the right side at center ice, Romanis. Ahead, Cruz had it picked off. And it's driven into the Wolves zone. Wolves in the power play for only another half minute. No shots on goal thus far in this period for Chicago. They're stuck on 11. Loach will dump it into the far corner. Ricky back to get it behind his net. Spins. Met by Cruz. Far corner, Loach. Back of the net, Cruz. Swatted away by Weaver. And Weaver will drive it back into the Wolves' end. 5 seconds left in the power play. Wolves trailing 3-0 here early in the third, game 5. And the Solar Bears back at full strength. The Scaldi pops out. Romanis shovels it ahead. LaRose trying to get that puck to settle. McBain over the line right side. McBain to the far point. Hood shoots. Blocker saved by Miracle. Along the near side, Boisvert. Fed it ahead for Hordichuk. Hordichuk taken off the biscuit by Shaw, and here's LaRose behind his net. LaRose He gathers himself some speed, goes right by Hornachuk. Collision out in the neutral zone. No call made. Far circle. Plant with a hit. Far point now Shaw. Chips it back of the net. It rolls right to Hood. Hood. Oh, he tried to poke it out in front for Plant. Now Murphy. Gave it away to Plant. Near point McBain. Back of the net now Clark. Around to the far point. It's Shaw. Shoots. Near side it goes. Hood takes off Boisvert's head. And now Plant with a shot. Miracle to save. And the rebound, as we talked about in the second intermission, fired back into the Wolves zone. Miracle is giving up those rebounds. There's no question about it, but difference how people are playing in front of him. Now Belanger walks down to the near circle. Belanger shoots. Miracle to save. Rebound Brown fired off the side of the net. Brown back of the net. It's a pretty good showing for the Wolves here early in the third. McBain correct. They have not given up. Along the near side, Aikens shoots off a leg, and it deflects up the middle and out to center ice.
Can a shot hit a skate blade any more squarely than that and just go right out of the zone? It's amazing.
Dahl up the left side for Belanger. Throws it into the right corner. 14.5 left here in the third. 3-0 Solar Bears. Aikens pitches. And look out here on the line left side. Mason far circle. Tries to return. Dahl came back hard. And that prevented the crossing pass. Now Scaldi taken down cleanly by Aikens. 3 forwards against 3 Orlando players. Over the line right side. High slot now Aikens. Aikens into the slot. Shoots. Blocked. And we get a stop. 14 minutes left here in the third. 3-0 Orlando. This is Chicago Wolves hockey.
Little email. Hi, Judd. First, I want to say you are one of the best TV announcers. I love it when you scream goal. Anyway, my next question is Rob Brown going to play next year? Remains to be seen. I love it when you call goal too, Judd.
Haven't had to do that at all tonight.
Sometimes you wonder how closely people are paying attention, don't you?
Yes.
Although we had a case before the game, and I'm always entertained by national anthems as we tour around, and it amazes me how many people don't know the exact words to the American national anthem. We had another case of it tonight, where it's only off by 1 word, but I would think with that song, you would want to know all the words. Just an observation, late in the year.
Rob Brown should be playing next season for this team. Again, we'll have to see what happens after the season concludes.
And we want to stress, too, and this is what Wolves chairman Don Levin told us in Winnipeg, is that the Wolves will be playing next year. That's the bottom line. That's the main thing that I think all Wolves fans need to know, and the Wolves will always be in the business of providing quality hockey and attempting to build teams that win championships.
Near circle for the faceoff in the Orlando end. Bermanis held it in with a skate for a moment. And now...
hand pass.
Got a hand pass. Derek Galarcy to pull his shoulder out. This Chicago Wolves simulcast may not be reproduced or retransmitted without the express written consent of the Wolves. No unauthorized use is permitted. Big crowd on hand here at the TD Waterhouse Center, formerly the Orlando Arena.
Isn't it amazing to think that when Shaquille O'Neal was drafted by the Orlando Magic, when they had Penny Hardaway too, they figured we are going to be celebrating championships in this town for a long, long time. And with the exception of when the the Magic got to the finals that 1 year, next thing you knew, everybody left. And of course, the Rage got off to a great start in the XFL that you thought, hey, we're going to win the big game, and they didn't get a championship there either. And then here it is, right smack dab in the middle of the state of Florida, that it might be professional hockey that brings this city a championship if they can hold on to this 3-0 lead. I forgot about the Predators, guys. The guys in the crew here are giving me dirty looks. Forgot about arena football. Sorry, guys.
Actually, someone in the building had said this might be the last season for that as well. High slot Richard shoots. Young the save. Bermanis, far corner, took a hit. Along the far side, Loach chopped it out to center ice. Ahead for Cruz a little bit too far, but this one will not go far enough or fast enough for icing. Clark drives it around to the far wall, and this will be icing as it's touched up by Bobby Nardella. Down to Billy Jaffe.
Thanks a lot, Judd. In between the second and third period, had a chance to talk to a few of these scratches for the Orlando Solar Bears, and taking nothing for granted, they said, you know what, we need to have the same kind of third period that we had against the Grand Rapids Griffins when in the clinching game, they allowed 2 shots on goal in the third period. Norm Miracle said, if I wasn't in net, we probably still would have won the game 2-1, even if we just played 6 skaters. That's how good our defense was, and so far, so good for this Orlando Solar Bear club here in the third period. They are playing extremely tight defense in front of Miracle. Guys?
Well, the Solar Bears have trailed 5 times when entering the third period in the playoff, and they've won 3 games, including Game 4 yesterday in Chicago. Adams, near corner of the Wolves' end, stripped of the puck by Nardella. The Wolves dish it ahead, and the Solar Bears, who rarely have 3 guys back, will do so. Here's DJ. He'll shovel it in. Nardella. And we've got an elbow here on the Wolves. 12:49 left here in the third. Orlando going to the power play when we return. This is Chicago Wolves hockey.
Back at the TD Waterhouse Center in Orlando, Solar Bears about to go on another power play. Paul Cruz into the penalty box for elbowing. And I think you could just about get out the corkscrew if the Solar Bears score here.
Left circle, Clark shoots. Young came out the challenge and it went wide. See, a lot of Wolves again still competing here in the third period. They've played pretty well, despite having not scored as of yet.
They've had one of their better periods in the series, Judd.
Far circle Buffet, far point now Clark. Clark spins away from Plant, near point Richards. High slot Clark. Far point now Vasiliev, left of the net now Buffet, back of the net Mason. Far circle Vasiliev shoots, Young a stick save. And one guy I can guarantee who's still going to be competing is the guy in net for the Chicago Wolves. I think more so than anything, and he will tell you that, it is his competitive fire. Not necessarily a skill, that's not to say he isn't, but that is what has gotten him to this point.
Well, Judd, I agree with you 100%, and I think sometimes people may hear a comment like that and say, what are you saying, the guy isn't a talented player? No, that's not the case. The fact is, all these guys out here you see are very, very talented. They wouldn't be here if they weren't. But what's separate, there's all sorts of guys that are this talented, but what separates everybody out is your competitive nature, your desire to win, and your desire to constantly get better. That's what gets you to the top levels.
18 years of professional hockey. Pathier rockets one over the crossbar and into the crowd.
I always tell people the reason why Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan are the best is they worked at it harder than anybody else. And certainly they're enormously talented, but it's the guys that work hard and get the most out of that talent. Those are the guys that rise to the top level. You don't play for as long as Wendell Young has and not be incredibly talented, but you also don't play as long as he has without being a very hard worker. And if you've ever seen the guy just walking around, I defy you to find me 2 or 3 people that are in better shape than Wendell Young.
I think they're going to kick him out of the goaltenders union for that. Right circle at Scaldi. Fires through a screen, and Young may have gotten a piece of this and went wide. Goaltenders typically some of the worst bodies in hockey. Puck centered out in front. Adams couldn't get a redirection. Far point Murphy. Far circle Murphy. Off the inboards. Over to the near side Scaldi. Near corner now Adams. Now near side Scaldi. Scoreless thus far in the series. Right circle Adams. High slot Scaldi. Shoots. Young the save. Rebound flipped over to the near side. Right to the Solar Bears. Adams shoots. Blocked. Right now it's a shooting gallery as the Wolves not quite as aggressive on the penalty kill. Far circle now Pathier. Right of the net Scaldi shoots. Young a sliding stop. Along the near side it's Scaldi. Near point Pathier. High slot Murphy golfed it over the crossbar. The shooting gallery now. 15 more seconds left on the minor assessed to Cruz for elbowing. High slot Pathier. Near point Scaldi. Right of the net Adams. Centered. Young what a stop on in front. They score!
It was indeed a shooting gallery out in front of Wendell Young. The Wolves, I think their penalty killers are just flat running out of gas. They spent a lot of time on the ice tonight, and it's just too hard to get to the bodies and clear everybody out of the front. Again, Curtis Murphy, he's a defenseman, but you see him right out in front. And he just chops the puck and golfs it over Wendell Young. The Solar Bears up by 4, 10:54 remaining in regulation. And the Solar Bears and their fans right now feeling pretty good about their chances.
Near corner, Malte goes to dig for the puck in the Orlando end. And here comes Snyder, up right wing, over the red line, over the blue line high slot. Gave it away, and the Wolves will flip it back into the neutral zone. Malte up right wing, Belanger, over the line right side. Spins it over to the near wall. Near side at center ice. The Wolves able to clear it back into their own zone. So Orlando 2 in the first, 1 in the second, and 1 now in the third. The last one finally coming on the power play, as the Wolves had really solved that Orlando man advantage for a while, as it's thrown off the glass into the crowd with 10:06 left here in the third. The Wolves 1 for 8 on the kill tonight.
The amazing thing about John Anderson's time in Chicago, they've been to the Turner Cup Finals 3 times in 4 years. They've won 2 Turner Cups. And don't forget, the year they didn't go to the Turner Cup Finals, they got to a 7th game in the Western Conference Finals in Houston. Were in the game until the late going. So it's really been an amazing run for John Anderson with the Wolves as to what he's gotten out of this team and what he and Kevin Sheldale have been able to put on the ice. It's an incredible string of consistency.
Near corner, Noonan. Feed it into the slot. Now far circle. Floats, shoots, and he threw one over the top of the net. That's the type of night it's been for the Wolves. Either they've missed it, or Norm Miracle has made the stop. The line, eye slot, Kofe. Far circle now. Vasilyev. And he just missed it. As now things have started to open up since Orlando scored that goal. Orlando fading back out into the neutral zone, not pressuring the Wolves. Here's Miracle. Far corner now. Hood. Lost it. And the Solar Bears will crank it back into the Wolves' end. Young out to play it. Drives it up the far side. Both teams changing. 9:15 left here in the third. Game 5 of the Turner Cup Finals, and Orlando firmly in control. The Wolves had a brilliant opportunity last night to tie the series. They had a 1-0 lead with 8 minutes left, but Orlando got a goal from Brett Clark to tie it, and then a goal from Darcy Hordichuk set up by Clark early in overtime. Orlando 4-0 in overtime this year. And Orlando took a 3-1 lead into this game. Right side at center ice, Dahl. He'll flip it into the right corner. Miracle back of the net. Around the near side it comes. And out to center ice. Akins holds up his man. High side of his own zone, Dahl. Up right wing. Over the red line. Avoids the check from Hordichuk. Will flip it in. Back of the net now. Papier and Cruz all knotted up. And the puck squirts into the Wolves' end. Dahl, near circle of his own zone. Chased by Hordichuk. Fights off his check. Gets it by Snyder, but not out. 8 minutes left here in the third. Near point now, Papier. Near wall, Simon. Hit a huge shorthanded goal. High slot, Simon shoots, he scores!
Well, there has been no drop-off in the intensity for the Orlando Solar Bears. A 4-0 lead, quite comfortable. Let the clock tick down, but they're still putting pressure on Wendell Young. Ben Simon just gets this puck in the corner and just works his way out. Little spin move to get some room, works his way back between the rings, and just throws it inside the far post. The Solar Bears are on a roll. The reason why they're on a roll is because, to be honest with you, they have been the better team in this series.
Oh, there's no question. We can talk about all the breaks and the bounces, but the fact is that from the beginning of game 1 to right now, the 7:47 mark remaining here in the third period of game 5, they have worked constantly We'll bring you back to the TD Waterhouse Center in a moment. This is Chicago Wolves hockey.
So many of these players in recent years have been close to big accomplishments and not gotten there. Ben Simon was a member of the first Notre Dame team to get to Joe Louis Arena for the finals of the CCHA tournament in years, but they were blown out in the semifinals. And no matter what you accomplish in a hockey season, if your season ends before you get to the ultimate goal, many times it's registered as a disappointment, if not a failure. And to think that last year Ben Simon had that season end in huge disappointment, and then a year later you're sitting on the verge of walking off the ice in your final game of the season as the champion. It's a big turnaround. But it's, you know, any player in this game has stories like that. Even guys in the Wolves that have been a member of champions, they've had other times where they've come so close, and it's so painful when you don't get there. That's why it's so fulfilling when you do.
Right side at center ice, Clark. They'll flip one into the right corner. Clark probably been Orlando's best defenseman here in the finals, both offensively and defensively.
And that's saying something.
And I'm sure he will get another long look in Atlanta, which he got this year. On the line, high slot, McBain. Bumped off the puck by Adams, and it's back into the Wolves zone. 6.5 left here in the third. 5-0 Solar Bears in game 5. Near corner, Weaver turns away from Noonan. Back of his net, Weaver. Up the near side, Simon. Got it out to center ice. Snyder over the line, right side. Snyder to the high slot. Snyder, poke check. Murphy, right circle, shoots. Young, a glove save and a beauty, as Hornachuk took a couple of shots from Hood at the near post.
That was by no means an easy save, because Wendell Young had a lot of traffic in between him and the puck. And Snyder just lost the puck off his stiff. Murphy picks it up. Wendell Young was just about ready to make that move back more toward the center of the net when Murphy let the shot go, so Wendell leaning a little bit, still reaches down and makes a nice glove save. But Wendell Young certainly knows the other side of the coin with all the championships he has won in his time in professional hockey and playing junior.
High slot now, Murphy shoots. Young, a stick save. Here's Plant up right wing. Plant flips it to the right of the net. Murphy, or pardon me, Weaver took a pop there from LaRose. Back of the net now, Cruz. Spins near corner. Cruz, back of the net. Plant trying to dig for it, can't get there. Snyder, far side. Didn't get it out, far point Cruz. Shoots, miracle paddle save. Back of the net now, LaRose throws it out in front. Cruz, near point Aikens, lost it. One-on-one the other way. Simon over the line near side. Simon into the slot. Simon poke check. Murphy coming up. And we've got a penalty behind the play, as Simon was gunning for the hat trick, and it's Hornachuk who gets back up. 5:24 left here in regulation. 5-0 Orlando.
So the Wolves, by the time this is all done with, are going to be down to 3.5 minutes left in the game, and yet another penalty in the parade to the penalty box here in game number 5 continues for the Wolves, and all created because of the speed of Ben Simon. Kevin Dahl trying to poke check. That didn't work. And meanwhile, it was the other side of the play where Dan Plant got his stick tied up with Darcy Hornachuk, but it's going to be Dallas Aikens going off for a slash. I thought it was going to be on Plant.
Well, Dallas Aikens, who grabs the seat, has been such a steady force for this team over the past 2 seasons. A part of the championship club last year. He doesn't have a lot to say, but when he does, everybody is listening. A very wise man, an outstanding defenseman. And a testament to his character, what he's been able to produce since he's come here to Chicago. But he'll grab a seat now. Coleman, who's barely seen any ice, will now step on. Coleman has scratched for the first 3 games.
He's been working on his weather maps.
4:48 left here in regulation. Wendell Young gloving it and giving it to the linesman. Harris Permanis has had a fine postseason.
Well, Harris Permanis has scored some huge goals in this playoff run. Permanis with 3 of them, and 1 of them came last night. And it turns out, and you had the suspicion last night in the All-State Arena, that the goal, when overtime started, that no matter which team scored that goal in overtime, it would likely be the biggest goal of the series.
Around near circle in the Wolves' end. Shaw with it. They'll throw it up the middle and down the length of the ice. David Shaw's father drove down yesterday for his son's 37th birthday and then joined the team on the charter, so he's on hand for tonight.
Couldn't tell it was his dad, could you? Jeez.
The former mayor of his town and the former principal. How's that for a combination?
Yeah, how'd you like that? You get sent to the principal's office, you gotta go in and see your dad. That's, I guess it saves you a trip.
Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Far side on the Wolves' end. Adams hit by Shaw. Back of the net, Scaldi. Scaldi near corner now. A hit from Nardella. Near side, Scaldi. Up the near side. Comes out to center ice, LaRose with it. He's got Nardella breaking. Can't hold on to it. Just under 4 minutes left in regulation. The Wolves short for another 25 seconds. Orlando up 5-0 here in Game 5 and about to close it out. The Wolves have been to the finals 3 times in 4 years. In 97-98, it took 7 games. They knocked off the Vipers after trailing in that series 3-2 last year. As Young clears it down the length of the ice. Last year, the Wolves beating Grand Rapids in 6 games. They almost led from wire to wire during the regular season. They won the regular season championship and then won in the postseason, knocking off the Griffins, who just finished below them in the standings by only a smidgen in points. The Wolves back at full strength with 3 minutes left here in regulation. Here's Snyder over the line, right side to the right circle. Snyder centers, blocked by Bramanis, and now the net is dislodged, and we get a whistle with 2:51 left here in the third. 5-0 Orlando. This is Chicago Wolves hockey.
What's on the minds of the Wolves players right now, I would imagine, is how much hard work you put in all year long, how much effort you expend just to get to this point, to give yourself a chance to win one more championship. And in spite of your best efforts, it's just not quite good enough.
Wolves throw the puck into the near corner. Eric Hood can't get it down deep, and it swings back into the Wolves' end for Bobby Nardella. The Chicago native throws it up the middle. Brian Noonan deflects it in off his skate. Up the far side, Clark. Now center circle, Beaufait. Boy, for a group that has not seen a championship ever in Solar Bear history, they're pretty tame here with 2 minutes left. Near corner, Clark.
Just trying to pace themselves.
I guess so. Now they're starting to get into it a little bit. Far point, Hood. Near circle of his own zone, Akins. He'll chip it up the middle and back into the Orlando end. 1:45 left here in regulation. And that's the time remaining in the Wolves season. This is the Wolves' 16th game of the playoffs and their 98th of the season. On the line left side, LaRose into the slot. LaRose, oh, he dished it back for Brown. That would really ruin things, wouldn't it? Far corner, Brown. Far circle, LaRose. Far point, Dahl. Shoots. He scores! 5-1.
And I can't imagine ever seeing a goal with less celebration than the one that Kevin Dahl just scored.
So Dahl gets his second of the playoffs. And this has been a guy who has battled through so many aches and pains. But the key for him this year, he had a great second half of the season. He was able to play, and he was relatively healthy most of the year.
For those watching on TV, just watch the reaction of Dan Plon after this one goes in. Okay. I mean, they congratulated Kevin Dahl, but you could tell their hearts weren't in it. It was acknowledgement of a teammate for doing something well, but the overall picture is the Solar Bears are going to be better in this series and in this game.
Malte over the line right side. Toloch into the slot. Right circle back to Malte. High slot now, Bremanis turns, shoots, deflected. Miracle look behind him. That would really hurt too.
Now on the other hand, Judd, earlier this year, Maryland led Duke by 10 with about a minute to go, didn't they? We can always hope.
Jim, I like to say in 7 years of calling this team, seeing every single game, I've seen a lot. And I try never to be surprised, but that would surprise me with 45 seconds left in regulation.
It would surprise the guys in the maroon jerseys too.
But one thing about this group, love them, hate them, come to the games, they are entertaining. And they're great people. Everybody associated, not only in that bench, the coaching staff, the general manager, the front office, great people. Back behind us, Ned Murphy. Oh, the fans here are on their feet with 25 seconds left. Here's Beaufait over the red line. He'll slide it in. Far corner plot, delivers it up the far wall. 14 seconds left. Well, the Chicago Wolves have been the signature franchise for the past few seasons. Todd Richards waving them on. The torch and the cup is going to pass from Chicago to Orlando. The Solar Bears are the 2001 Turner Cup champions.
Well, the Solar Bears were clearly the better team in this series, and you really have to give a big pat on the back to Peter Horachek and the rest of the Solar Bears, because remember, it was not a foregone conclusion that they were even going to get to the Turner Cup Finals. They had a series against a heavily favored Grand Rapids Griffins team, and they got through that a lot quicker than anybody who thought they might win that series would accomplish. But they got here, and when you knock off the defending champs and you win a championship yourself, you leave no doubt.
Well, the Solar Bears lost the first game of the playoffs to Cincinnati. In the second game, it went to overtime on a goal that was highly disputed, scored by the Solar Bears. It was 1-1 at that point in the series. The Solar Bears then proceeded to sweep the next 3 games in Cincinnati. And they all said that Grand Rapids was looking past them and to the finals. Well, they got smoked in 6 games and then beat the Wolves in 5 as Norm Miracle, who would be my vote for the most valuable player in the playoffs, starts the conga line to say thank you and congratulations to the Chicago Wolves.
Judd, you also have to wonder what this does for a group of prospects to win a championship and win it together. And you would suspect that many of these guys, the younger guys, will be together in the Thrashers organization for a while. What it does for their confidence and what it does for their development.
What a bright future a lot of these guys have. And Todd Richards, their captain, talked about it. We've got all these rookies who are playing like veterans with 3 or 4 years of experience. And it was a lot of their rookie performances, especially in this series, that made a big difference. Simon with 2 goals, including one shorthanded in the opening period. Orlando got out to a 2-0 lead like they did in the first 2 games of this series. And it was that energy and that type of production from their younger players that helped lead them to this championship, the team's first in 6 seasons. And the Wolves at least won't get shut out here on the last game of the season. Dahl fired a shot at the far point that deflected in, his second of the playoffs from LaRose and Brown at 18:44 to close out the 3rd period and the final game of the playoffs here in the 2000-2001 season. Solar Bears win the game 5-1 and take the series 4-1. Jim, Billy, and I will bring you back for the post-game show in just a moment. This is Chicago Wolves Hockey. Chicago Wolves hockey has been brought to you by Craftsman. Find them on the web at www.sears.com/craftsman. And by Clark. When it comes to great prices, Clark is the real deal. And by Coca-Cola. Proud soft drink sponsor of the IHL Turner Cup champion Chicago Wolves. Coca-Cola, enjoy. Judd Surratt, Jim Blaney, and Billy Jaffe back here at the TD Waterhouse Center, where the Wolves have fallen here in Game 5, 5-1, and Orlando takes the Turner Cup in 5 games. And Jim, a lot of people didn't even think that we would get to this point. The Wolves in last throughout the bulk of the first half, but they rise up to take the West and get to the finals. And now onto the ice, we send it down to Doug Moss, who will present the Turner Cup Championship trophy.
On behalf of everyone in the International Hockey League, I'd like to congratulate the Chicago Wolves for a great season this year and for being true champions by winning 2 Turner Cups over the last 3 years. And now it's my pleasure to present the NR Bud Poyle Trophy for the most valuable player in the Turner Cup playoffs to number 34 of the Orlando Solar Bears, Norm Miracle.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we'd like to direct your attention to Doug Moss at center ice for the presentation of the 2001 Turner Cup to your Orlando Solar Bears.
Congratulations, guys. It's a great tribute to a great organization. And Todd, for your owner, Rich DeVos, Bob Vander Weide, John Weisbrod, Hubie McDonough, Peter Horacek, the rest of the coaching staff, your teammates, and these great fans in Orlando, come on over and get the Turner Cup.
Ladies and
The
gentlemen,
Solar Bears
the
getting awarded the Turner Cup Championship trophy, which oddly enough was refurbished during the course of the season, led by the Chicago Wolves. And I'll be interested to see how they pick it up and carry it around, because the thing is a lot heavier than it used to be.
Well, it's got a lot of hard miles on it in the last few years, because the Wolves certainly got their enjoyment out of the trophy. And in spite of the fact that the Wolves didn't win it this year, John, as a hockey fan, you always like to see the season come to a conclusion, and you always like to see the team that wins it get to hoist the trophy, because if you follow this game at all and you're any type of a casual fan to a diehard, you understand what it means to go through the long regular season, the difficulty and the physical beating you take in the playoffs, all for this moment. And even if your team doesn't win it, it's just nice to see the season come to a conclusion.
Well, having had a chance to hoist it before, that cup feels as light as air after you win it. And let's send it downstairs to Billy Jaffe, who has John Anderson, the head coach of the Wolves, a guy who's hoisted this thing twice.
Coach, first of all, congratulations on an excellent season. Sorry about the outcome of this series and tonight's game in particular, but you've been on that side of what the Solar Bears are doing right now, hoisting the cup. However, we know those emotions. We've talked to you about those. Your emotions right now, though, after losing in 5 games.
Well, I mean, it happened to me my first year when I was coaching, too. We lost in the finals, and it's an empty feeling. You know, there's no joy in Mudville, that's for sure. But certainly I'm very proud of what we've done this year. You know, this organization is feared by everybody in this league because they never know when we're going to come up and challenge for a championship. And it seems like every year. And, you know, our guys played through a lot of adversity this year. People said we couldn't do anything. And sure enough, we came to the finals. And we were a little short. I think we had trouble handling their speed all series, and they played very well and deserved to win.
Was speed the biggest factor, Coach, or was it just a whole slew of things that basically fed off their great speed?
No, I just think it was their speed. That's what hurt us, and we had trouble catching up to it, and they pressure the puck so well with that speed, and it's hard to get anything going, and it was just tough for us to deal with throughout the series.
And if you look at the way you guys started the season, actually all the way up through January, February, I know nobody remembers second place, so to speak, but to get where you guys got to after a real tumultuous season, it's got to be a little bit of a good, I'll say good feeling.
Well, I mean, again, I'm proud of what we've done. But, I hate losing. If you show me a good loser, I'll show you a loser. And, I'm still upset about it. I think we could have played a little better, but you know what? It's over and done with now, and it's in the record books. And, hopefully next year we can come back.
All right, lastly, Coach, last night you guys had an outstanding crowd at the All-State Arena. You had the rafters shaking again as usual. Once that game was over, in your heart, did you still feel like you totally had this series, or just something that, maybe this year wasn't the Chicago Wolves season?
No, I still felt very confident coming into the game tonight. I thought if, we had scored the first goal, Nicky had that breakaway early on. If we had scored that first goal instead of them, it might have been a different outcome. But, that's what playoff hockey is about, scoring goals in special situations. They had it, we didn't. That's the end of the story.
All right, well, Coach, I know all the Chicago Wolves fans out there listening and watching would want to say congratulations to you on a great season. Everything you did this year, getting the team to the point where you're at was just tremendous.
Well, and I want to thank the Chicago fans. I know that when we won, our fans were way louder than these guys. So I'm still proud of our fans, and tell them to stay with us, and we appreciate all the support this year.
All right, this is a true winner right here, folks. John Anderson, he steps up to the plate all the time, gets his team prepared, and has them ready. And again, John, a great season. Congratulations. Sorry about the outcome this evening.
Thanks very much, Bill.
All right, John Anderson, our guest here. The Chicago Wolves lose to the Orlando Solar Bears and lose the series. Let's go back upstairs for more from Judd and Jim.
All right, thanks a lot, Billy. John Anderson, I think one of the greatest credits to him, Jim, is his stability and his positive attitude, even when things were down, and this team was 8 games below 500, in the cellar. Maybe they weren't even going to make the playoffs. His stability, his positive thinking led the team to a Western Conference regular season title on the last day of the season.
And I think that's the postscript to this Wolves season, John. They came up short in the Turner Cup Finals, but two things. Number one, Western Conference regular season champs and the Western Conference playoff champions and another trip to the Turner Cup Finals. Everything is measured so black and white in sports, and that's what drives guys like John Anderson and all the members of the Wolves. Is you want to win the Turner Cup championship. That's what you measure your season by. So in their eyes, at least for now, they came up short. But if you look at what they accomplished during the regular season, it was a great ride. They went a long way, and when you're standing on the final day of the season and you're playing in the final game, you've had a great year.
Let's send it down to Billy Jaffe for some final thoughts.
Well, anytime you lose a hockey game of this magnitude, obviously there's a lot of things that's going through your head as a player, as a coach, and as a fan as well. But my final thought on this run is that it's been a great run for the Chicago Wolves, an outstanding, joyous time. These guys, as John Anderson said, we were at a tough situation. Nobody really expected a lot out of us. They put it together. They came through. A lot of different players wore the Chicago Wolves sweater this season. But when it came down to it, the veteran players put it together, stuck together, and believed in themselves. They just fell a little bit short this season. Can't win them all the time. It would be great to, but you can't. Just want to tell you guys as well upstairs and in the truck, thanks a lot for having me. I've enjoyed this run this season a heck of a lot as well. It's great to be back part of the Chicago Wolf family. That includes you too, Judd. Back up to you, buddy.
All right, thanks a lot, Billy. Jim, another lasting thing, there's going to be turnover. No matter if we talk about the AHL or the IHL, there's invariably turnover that will happen with this team next season. And I guess what I take away, win or lose, or in this case, lose in the finals, that the characters who comprise this team, like in years past, just a special group of guys, and we'll be sorry to see some of them go.
Well, I've been through it twice where the door's about to shut and you're about to be said, bye, your services are no longer needed. There's a lot of guys on this team. They've been in pro hockey for a long time. They're getting to that point in their careers where, do I really want to put my body through another 80-game plus season? Do I really want to go through that? And there's some guys that are going to have some hard decisions over the summer. But I'm looking forward to next year for the Chicago Wolves, because if the talk does come to pass that we have a bigger league, that there's more teams involved, I think it's nothing but a plus for pro hockey. I'm looking forward to it. And as we've said many times before, the bottom line is this: the Chicago Wolves will be playing next year. and they'll provide the same quality of hockey that we've become used to ever since the Wolves have been in Chicago. So in spite of the fact that this season came to a disappointing end, I'm already looking forward to next year.
Jim, there are a couple of guys I think we can single out who probably have played their last game professionally. David Shaw, Brian Noonan, a special guy when it comes to Chicago, and lastly, Wendell Young, a member of this franchise for all 7 seasons, the league's Man of the Year this year for his community service efforts. And when I think about Wendell Young, what a special guy. When I'll ask him, are you going tonight? And he'll usually say, well, I'm gonna head out there and see what happens. Well, I think for 18 seasons, things have gone pretty well for him.
And we've seen some pretty good things happen out of Wendell Young, and we talked about it briefly during the course of the game. If you really want to go to 2 guys who are cornerstones of this franchise from day one, Steve Malte and Wendell Young, and I think a lot of the popularity of the Chicago Wolves due to number 1.
The Orlando Solar Bears have come up with a victory here in Game 5, and they have eliminated the Wolves from the playoffs. Chicago falling 4-1 to the Orlando Solar Bears. It's the Solar Bears who hoist what could be the last Turner Cup ever. Our congratulations to Peter Horacek and the Orlando Solar Bears for an outstanding season and a great run into the 2001 playoffs. Also like to thank my partner Jim Blaney for some great work this year. It's been good having you along.
It was, you know what, Judd? Thanks to Billy Jaffe. It weren't for him, I wouldn't have had a chance to come back. So it's been a wonderful year.
And it was good to have Billy back. We brought him in from Atlanta to have some fun. He didn't see many winning teams down there or winning games, but he came in and joined us for the playoff run. So thanks to both of you for all your great work.
Well, it's been a wonderful year, Judge. It's been a pleasure to be around this group of guys, and I think when it gets right down to it, the thing I'm going to remember best about this season are the 2 comebacks in Winnipeg.
The executive producer of Chicago Wolves Hockey is Phil Kravietz. Our associate producers are Tim Kolasar and Bob Sipowicz. Our directors, Joe Vinci and Bob Albrecht. Wolves graphics are created by Mark Stencil, Bill O'Neill, and Phil Link, with special thanks, as always, to John Marzewski. Our technical directors throughout the season, Dan Stella and Roberto Rios. Our senior audio engineers, Paulie Krugman and Dave Brixon. Our statistician, my guy Manson, Jeff Mladic. Facilities and crew in Orlando provided by RDB Sports. Very special thanks also goes to everyone who's made Wolves TV and radio possible this season. Scotty Miller and Ed Murphy, Scotty Miller in particular. Thanks for keeping Humpty Dumpty together. And again, thanks to Pete McMurray, Skinnerd, Todd, Cicero Joe, and all of our friends at 105.9 FM WCKG, the great building crew at the Allstate Arena, in particular Mike Holtze, and of course, let's not forget Rosemont's finest, the coppers who work, keep everything orderly, and do everything to make that a great environment to watch the hockey team. Joe and Bob Carzoli, program productions, and our sensational home television crew. Another unbelievable year of Wolves TV. Thanks to you guys. Sean Spencer, Antonio Gutierrez, Bob Shane, and everyone at Corplex Mobile Television, Mona, Ken, Josh, and everybody at AT&T Romeoville, our television master control site. Ron Anderson and everyone at the Greater Chicago Video Path, all of the technicians and the support staff throughout the AT&T broadband cable network. John Bonacorso and everyone at Globecast, the entire Chicago Wolves organization and staff for all of their untiring efforts. Everybody. Just a phenomenal job. Thanks to the owners, the management, and the staff for everything they've done this year. And most importantly, our thanks goes to you, the fans, for another fantastic season. Without question, the greatest fans in the IHL. For Jim Blaney and Billy Jaffe, I'm Judd Surratt saying so long from the TD Waterhouse Center, where the Orlando Solar Bears have defeated the Wolves by a score of 5-1 and captured the 2001 Turner Cup Championship. We'll see you all this fall for a brand new season of Chicago Wolves hockey. Good night, everybody.